You damn right. Oh, that's why. That's why. That must be why that microphone was over here. Is that what it is? Hang on. Hold on. Because this isn't working, is it?
No.
No. It's not working. So you got to have this mic pulled over here. That's what it was. I thought maybe somebody had no idea what they were doing, and apparently they knew exactly what they were doing, and they had to, now it's like it's like a press conference over here now. All right.
How'd this happen?
I have no idea.
Bucky Godbolt, what are you doing? Because Jeff Howe's not here.
Man, obviously something needs to be reset. All right, that one deserves a redo. You damn right. Welcome to your Monday. I hope that was good. We do have one grader of my scream every day. There's somebody's out there grading it every day. I hope that was good. Monday, it is May 15th. We got a lot to get to, including NBA Game 7 action yesterday. Little NHL Game 7 action tonight. Oh, man. When it goes to a certain point, there's just nothing like a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And this one tonight will involve the Dallas Stars. We'll get to all of that. It is Chad and Zay on a Monday. I'm Chad Hastings, and he is Isaiah Collier. What's up, Zay?
What up, Chad? What up, Chad? Yep, people appreciate the redo. They really do.
That one had to be done.
That's special.
That one had to
That's
be done.
special. 2 in 1 day. That's special. Y'all got rewarded.
Had to be done because as soon as I started to yell, I realized, oh, that's why that microphone was pulled over there. You probably should have realized that. Okay, yeah, we'll have to get that reset maybe. And I don't know why didn't they do
Yeah, who did that? That's what I'm confused about because Bucky was here earlier, obviously, and he sits in the same chair that you do, if people don't know already. And then after, it's Light the Tower, but Jeff Howe wasn't here, so it goes back
It's
to
Bucky.
Buck.
Yeah, it's Bucky. And maybe they just didn't want to reset it, didn't have time to reset it. Maybe they were told not to. Maybe our expert engineer, Dave, said, no, we don't need to reset it yet. But there's something that is done in there.
Yeah, Todd could just press a couple of buttons, and if the mic's there, then he can make it to where the mic works no matter what.
Yeah.
We don't have that type of issue.
So we'll see if we need to do that kind of reset. How was your weekend? How was Mother's Day yesterday?
It was cool. She was happy. She
Yeah?
got her gifts. We got her a weighted blanket.
A what now?
Weighted blanket. It's just a heavy-ass blanket.
Okay.
Yeah, it's comfy.
And that's good because the weight is a comfort feeling?
Yeah, my mom gets cold. So,
Okay.
yeah, she appreciated that. At this point, when your mom, she's had a lot of Mother's Days. Let's just say that. I ain't gonna throw your age out, Annie. I ain't like that. That'd be wrong with me. But she's had a lot of Mother's Days. So at this point, where do you go? Like what do you? And plus, now that my wife is in the picture, she makes all those decisions. So she thought it was a good gift. I think it's a good gift.
That's good though. Yeah. See, you're into that new era where you are now not just dating, you are married. So your wife feels a little extra responsibility.
It's nice
for the Mother's Day of your mother. That's good.
Oh, it's lovely. I love being surprised at Christmas saying, "Oh, this is from Isaiah and Jesse," and then they open it and I'm like, "What the hell is that?" All right, cool. Hey, we'll take it.
Zay, you picked this out? Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
I was there.
Yes, absolutely.
I was at the mall. I was at the stores. We didn't just order it from Amazon.
All right. Weighted blanket. Yeah, we got tons of blankets in the house. The weighted blanket, we've not gotten to that point yet, but last Christmas they bought me a gigantic blanket, just really oversized.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I'm such an old man. I can't watch TV if I'm not covered at least partially with a blanket.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's 98 degrees outside.
Interesting.
It's crazy. Got to have some kind of blanket.
Yeah. It depends. It depends. My wife, she don't like to keep it too cold, so I just chill at the crib, shirt off, comfortable. If it's hot, I don't usually need a blanket, but I don't think I'll go the blanket route like you. I don't think I need all the blankets and stuff. It's a little much.
Yeah, it is a little much. It is. If you can resist it, it's probably a better thing. A little better movement there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the Snuggie was a great invention.
Yeah, see, I was never into the wearable blanket. That's too much for me. To me, that was too smothering. I need to be able to control it. Sometimes I got to kick a leg out, Yeah,
because I always have my phone in my hand or a laptop watching the game and stuff, so a blanket gets in the way of that, but yeah, they bring a Snuggie back. I'm sure it's not gone, but I haven't really seen any Snuggie commercials as of late.
Did you get one when it happened?
No.
No?
I was too young. I wanted to be
Oh.
cool. Like, come on, man. You can't be hard and rocking a Snuggie.
Dude, I had family and friends get into that. That was a wave. And we've got at least a couple of those at the house, but I never use them.
Yeah.
This wasn't my thing.
You think John Morant's ever wore a Snuggie?
Ooh, I don't know.
I think not.
Probably not. Probably not. He doesn't seem comfortable with a few things right now. Before we get to Game 7 and Boston, we will mention this John Morant thing. We'll probably mention it multiple times today, but I thought I was seeing some kind of best of broadcast. It was one of those, like, I thought maybe I'd fallen asleep and I'd hit something on the DVR from weeks ago or something, but John Morant, there's another video that briefly surfaced that appears to show John Morant with a gun, and now the Memphis Grizzlies have suspended him. They will look at a longer suspension now since this other story just happened. So, Zay, this was in a car, right, with some friend of his?
Yeah, with the homies.
So, and it's a guy that's been kicked out of the building.
That was the dude?
Wasn't it? His last name is like Pack?
Oh, man.
What I heard is that was the driver.
That's not good.
And I guess it's also the guy filming.
Okay. Yeah, he's definitely filming.
I'm going to tell you what. Not to go too old man here, but there was a time when, Herm Edwards and other old men were saying, be careful before you hit send. Now all of us old people have got to remind the young folks, be careful before you even pick up the device. Be careful before you hit the first button, because they're making it way too easy for you to start broadcasting yourself live. Live. Not record it, edit it, look at it, and then decide to hit send and hit send. Live. That's how he's gotten himself in trouble twice now. He did it, Zay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did it. And people trying to go bat for him and trying to just say, oh, y'all trying to get John Morant out the league. Nah, he's trying to get himself out the league. One thing that I never agreed with, and I was really young, but when I got older to understand it, was Charles Barkley's, I am not a role model. I am not a role model. Like, yes, you are, Chuck. You don't want to be a role model. And I kind of get what he was saying. Like, yeah, parents direct, what they want their kid to see. And if a parent says, you probably shouldn't follow Charles Barkley, then the kid will say, yeah, you're right, Dad. I'm going to look for more, maybe Michael Jordan, even though they didn't know about the gambling and stuff. But I digress. You look at somebody like John Morant, who's a face of the league. He's gotten trouble already. So you would think he would learn. He has not. So I'm good with him not playing next year. 2023, 2024 season, if the Grizzlies have John Morant, he didn't play one game, I am good with that. This is an absolute joke. I don't understand it. People talk about, oh, he's trying to be hard, whatever. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you get into the NBA and you become famous, you have all this money to get out. When you go back to the hood, it's to give back. Nino Brown delivered turkeys and stuff at Thanksgiving. That's what you do. That's what you do. Like, you give back. You know what I'm saying? Like, torn down buildings, you help build them back up. You put money into your neighborhoods at different rec centers and stuff. That's what you do when you go back to the hood. And with John Morant, I don't even think he's from the hood. He had like a sports court in the backyard. He's on some 8 Mile. This guy's a gangster. His real name's Clarence. That's what he's on. That's what he's on. So it's just, you see his ignorant ass daddy all the time, which I've said last time he mucked up, he was an issue. Boy has no home training. Zero. He never had that guidance. Pops is acting a fool with sunglasses on the sideline. The worst thing that the folks could have done is tell this old ass fool, you look like Usher. Chad? What? Y'all told this fool he looks like Usher? So think of his big head before, with his son being one of the best point guards in the league, number 2 pick, and he feels like he's a huge part of it, which he was. He was back there with John, that sports court, practicing with him, working on his game, and that's why Job has his dad around so much, because he owes a lot to him, and they're very close, tight-knit family. But, man, you got to sit your boy to the side sometimes and be like, yo, this ain't right. And if your pops ain't doing that, if your pops is out here wilding off of your success, like sister, she be fighting and stuff, and Ja be going to her rescue at her school and stuff. She's in high school, Chad. Ja, you gonna go fight a high schooler? You heard about him beating up something about him getting accused of beating up a kid at the playground. That was a minor. Just stop the kid. Called him out his name, his friends, pointing the guns at people in Indiana, like where they see the lasers and stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous. Clearly he didn't learn. Get him out the league.
Yeah, so this was a video on, and I can't remember if it would have been, if it's the driver's account or Ja's account, but it was live, live streamed. It was, I guess, Instagram live, both cases, and put himself obviously out there very briefly, and then they try to take it down, but obviously at that point it's out there, and it is as brief. It is even briefer than the last one in terms of the imagery of him and does he have a firearm and all that kind of stuff. It's even quicker, but it is there. And somebody texted us, yes, the driver was banned by the Grizzlies. Ja definitely deserves a bigger suspension and maybe needs to take a gun safety course. This one says he has 230 million reasons to be smarter. Someone said at least Ja learned how to hold the gun the right way this time. He did get criticized for that last time.
I mean, like old heads like, it's the rap music. I don't know. He's just an idiot. That's just point blank.
Yeah,
period.
I don't know if I want to blame music.
You can't
for
blame
that.
no music for it, whatever. Like, he is, and you can't, at least Antonio Brown got his head knocked off by Burfitt. The people be talking about, he got
right.
CTE problems. At least we can say that about Antonio Brown. I ain't see Ja get his head knocked off. He might fall a lot and stuff and might not know how to fall and hurt his hands. But, yo, it's so frustrating because he has all the talent in the world. He's one of the best athletes that I've ever seen with the basketball in his hands. And they were a number 2 seed this year. Like, they're supposed to be in the Western Conference Finals. We ain't supposed to be talking about LA. We're not. But we are, and a lot is because he was a distraction all year long, so the team couldn't lock in like they should have. Yes, they had injuries with Clark and Steven Adams and obviously the Dylan Brooke issues, but, man, you're the franchise. And the fact that he can't see that, it's very sad.
So, interesting text that just came in because I was kind of going to go down this road a little bit too. This says, I don't agree with what Ja did, but do you think the next time a white player posts a hunting picture online, there will be Ja Morant apologist coming for said player's job? So the question I was going to ask you is is there something in the rules of the NBA that says we don't want any of our players being seen with a gun in any circumstance? Or could Ja Morant, if he's really into guns, couldn't he be legally possessing a gun at a gun range on a hunting trip, some kind of target practice situation that's done safely, done the right way? That he could do that, couldn't he?
Absolutely.
That's what I would assume. So that to me, and so I wasn't thinking of it strictly along those lines, but I did think of hunting. I thought of, wait a minute, if Ja Morant liked to go hunt, couldn't he post a video of himself hunting? Legally possessing the gun, legally hunting at a time of the year when you're allowed to hunt. I'm assuming he could do all that. These two that got him in trouble were the imagery of a strip club when everybody knew his team was on a trip. So then the thing became, wait a minute, if he's got a gun on a trip, that's against NBA rules. What's he doing? And then in this case, it's in the fact that he's in a car, in a moving vehicle at the time, and maybe there was questions of, is it his gun? Is he legally possessing the gun? How does all that work? And of course, when you immediately take it down, it makes it seem like Ja, that something was up.
Oh, boy, put that phone down so quick.
Put that
it was like he was surprised, like, oh, I can't believe this fool would bring up the gun again. Like, I know we got it,
right.
But I can't believe this fool
was ready
pull out the gun again.
He was getting ready for like a video shoot. And it was like, oh, here we go. Here comes that first verse, Ja. Oh, no.
Yeah, somebody said he might be under the influence. Who knows? But, yeah, Chad, going back to the hunting thing, I see Quinn Ewers. He'll post a hunting pic on his Instagram almost every other pic.
Who's that?
Quinn Ewers.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Texas
right.
QB1. I don't think nothing of it. I just think, oh, yeah, Quinn just country. But he's being responsible.
Yeah, somebody says you don't hunt with pistols in the shotgun seat. Right?
That's what I'm saying, man. At the strip club, like, it's really frustrating and it's really sad. And I feel bad for the Grizzlies. I don't feel bad for Ja, not one bit. I hope he gets everything and then some, because this is an absolute joke. But as far as the Memphis Grizzlies, who have put so much into their franchise player and got a steal at number 2, like Ja came out of Murray State. He wasn't a 5-star. I don't even think he was a 4-star. He went to a non-Power 6 school and he got it from the mud. So that was a steal pick. Even though we knew he was going to go number 2, that's a big-time get. and he changes your franchise around in year one. Teams that get a lottery pick, they're not supposed to be in the playoffs the next year. They were playing against Utah. They lost first round, but they were right there. And then they've made some really good picks after that. Jaren Jackson Jr., getting Desmond Bane. Like, those are great picks. And now Ja Morant has put them right back in the hole.
Yeah, what a wild situation. And somebody texted, context matters, guns and cars and clubs, not the same as hunting. Absolutely.
Sure ain't.
Right, absolutely. That's the part of it and I would hope maybe somebody has that discussion with Ja along the way. If this is about the gun thing, there is a way to do that. There is a way to. By the way, he's in Memphis. You don't think in the state of Tennessee you can figure out a way to lawfully own a gun, shoot a gun, go hunting, target shoot, whatever it is you want to do, clay pigeons, whatever. Come on, man. You're in Tennessee.
Sad, man.
Yeah, it really is. I don't know. So now the issue is going to be, and Woj and others are reporting, he may be looking at a significant suspension to begin next season. Zay, you're saying maybe you'd even understand if it was the whole season.
Yeah.
I will, I'll say at this point, to get a message out, to really try to get his attention, don't you at least sit him till Christmas? At the very least, do you sit him from start of season to New Year and then maybe see where you are?
If that first gun incident was his first actual incident, I would say yes.
Right.
With all that other bullcorn that he's been doing before that.
Dude, he went to the mall in one case. Remember that one? It was a jockey store. That was either his mom or his sister. I can't remember which one it was. A family member was getting hassled. Oh, no. A family member didn't get the proper discount at a jockey store. And Ja went down there to deal with it.
Like, Ja, just buy your kinfolk some draws. Just buy him some draws. You can afford it.
What are we doing?
Like, hey, y'all are embarrassing me. You know how that situation should have went? Yo, get y'all's crazy asses up out this store. I'm going to get y'all some draws. All the draws y'all want, I will get it for y'all. Don't embarrass me.
Yeah.
That's why I praise Aaron Rodgers so much, Chad, because he got that crazy-ass family. Oh, boy was on The Bachelorette and stuff like that. And everybody's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, such an a-hole. He don't talk to his family and this and that. Man, if they are going to bring you down, F them. Get rid of them. Who cares? What, like, they're not looking for your best interests. They're supposed to be your family. That's literally what they're supposed to do. So if you feel like they aren't, then get rid of them. Don't let them hold you back because it could get really dark.
Or at least get them at the right distance.
Right.
Right? Get them to the right distance where you might see them at family functions, but you can't let them do those things.
Look at LeBron James. He's an absolute genius. He said, yo, fellas, y'all my boys. Y'all see where I'm going after high school. If y'all want to come with me, y'all going to get some jobs. Some serious jobs. And probably some of them fizzled out and were like, nah, Bron, we just want to come on the ride and you just throw us this bread and we the homies. And Maverick Carter and Rich Paul were like, okay, Bron, you right. And look at them. This fool Rich Paul with Adele.
Yeah, he is.
This fool Rich Paul went from hanging out with LeBron to dating Adele and becoming a millionaire in his own right.
Mm-hmm.
And LeBron doing the right thing. I haven't seen LeBron getting any of that stuff.
No, that's true. Yeah, definitely true. Yeah, that's definitely two different ends of the spectrum there when you're talking about LeBron and what Ja Morant has been involved in.
If I'm Patrick Mahomes, little bro, you got to go right now. Little bro just got locked up, being aggressive with that girl and stuff. That's not a good look.
Yep. I
just won another Super Bowl. That's not a good look, little bro. Patrick, look at A. Rodgers, man. Look, I'm telling you. There's certain people in your life, as much as it hurts, I know some people just can't get rid of family. I know that. But, when you're famous like this and you have so much at stake, and again, Ja Morant's making all of these decisions, but Shoons, if CeCe was acting a fool, messing up my life and stuff like that, CeCe, sorry, got to go.
2 straight texts. Case in point, Patrick Mahomes' brother, and example, Patrick Mahomes' brother. Yes, exactly, to what you're saying. Let us know what you think. Specs text line 337-3776. The Ja Morant story taking another crazy turn. We will get to Game 7. Boston dominates Philadelphia, and now all those questions around the Sixers are officially at a boiling point today. Boston advances advances to face Miami. We'll talk about that. Plus, we got an update on a former Longhorn that's trying to get a little love at the NBA level. Conference finals are set, and you got a Game 7 tonight in the NHL. Lots of stuff going on today on a Monday. Stay with us. Hope you had a great Mother's Day weekend. If you did not get something done for your mom yesterday, don't worry. She loves you. She'll forgive you. Just get it taken care of today. It'll be like an extra special Monday. Yeah, maybe. This is The Horn. This is Chad. Let's talk Apple leasing. All kinds of trips going on this time of year, and there's even more coming up as we get into summertime. If you have a vehicle that's not dependable, if you've had a vehicle that's made a few too many trips and you know you need to upgrade or change, Apple leasing is a great way to do that. You'll be paying for the part of the car that you're using. You'll be setting up your finances in a much more reasonable way than maybe you have been, where you're spending all that money on the back end just trying to keep things rolling. That's not what you need to be thinking of when you're doing big family trips and stuff. You want a good, dependable vehicle. And this is the easiest and safest way to get in a new car, truck, SUV, whatever you're looking for. Any make, any model, they can get you into any car or truck. Just call them, let them know what you're thinking about. They get the same discounts and incentives that the dealers do. They're going to pass all those savings on to you. So they're going to hit all those different dealerships so you don't have to. They're going to save you time. They're going to save you money because they're getting you all those rebates and sales and everything that the dealers would get you. So convenient. Call 346-9977. It's all you do. Just starts with a phone call. 346-9977. That's the number I called. That's the number you'll call. Check them out. They'll start walking you through the process. If you want to go online, it's real simple that way too. It's appleleasing.com.
Chad and Zay.
All right. So I know the song. It's a Beatles song called You Won't See Me.
Oh, so that's a cover.
It is. That I think George sang this song back in the day. All right. But that sounds like a female voice. Is this like, I don't know, Carly Simon covering it?
Nah, Anne Murray.
Anne Murray. All right. Wow. I did not realize Anne Murray covered this one. There you go. Beatles fans, let me know if I'm wrong on that. That is George, right? Anne Murray with a little Beatles cover. Couldn't hurt. All right. That gets us started musically. By the way, this week, the plan is we're going to take a little break from the album swap. We're going to do a movie swap this week because Zay's been on me about seeing Blue Chips. He says it's one of the greatest bad movies of all time. So I got to check it out. Nick Nolte and Shaq. But then I realized Zay had not seen A Few Good Men, and Zay went looking for A Few Good Men. Apparently it's way too expensive to watch, but I own it on DVD because I'm an old man. And so you do have a DVD player in the house?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So I'm going to get A Few Good Men to Zay, and I'm going to check out Blue Chips, and Thursday at 2, instead of our album swap, we'll do a movie swap for a week. We'll cleanse our musical palette for a week.
Damn, Craig, way hating on Anne, said bad cover of that song. Okay, Craig. Tell us how you feel.
It was a very, I wasn't thrilled with that cover. Craig, as a Beatles guy, I agree with you. I agree with you. Because if you're going to cover, I would tell anybody that's covering a Beatles tune, you better be careful. But yeah, that wasn't great. I've heard much better Beatles covers in my life.
Huh.
I didn't mean that as a pun, the in my life part.
That's depressing. I thought Anne did a decent job. But I haven't heard the OG version, so.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, George got it done. And the original was very nice. All right, so a couple of good texts rolling in here. Specs text line 337-3776. Zay was talking about the family and knowing when to keep the family members at a distance. Zay, this one says, Chad and Zay, to this family argument, would you tell your family if you won the lottery, like big $100 million money? No way I could. I could help them out. But if I ever said those words out loud, they come out like The Walking Dead.
See?
Could you ever tell your family if you won like massive amounts of money in the lottery?
Certain family members.
Okay.
And I would tell those family members, hey, you bet not tell this family member.
Yeah.
Or we're all screwed.
First thing I would have to do is grab my wife's phone out of her hand and say, I'm going to tell you something. It can't go on Facebook.
Oh, no.
Okay, I'd make her say that back to me at least 5 times before I actually tell her. Like, you cannot post this. Can we agree? And then I'd tell her.
There's a really bad lottery movie with Lil Bow Wow in it. It's terrible. But, of course, it's a kid who wins the lottery in the hood and just expect how that goes. It's like an Ice Cube movie.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so everybody and the bully tries to get him, and the whole time Bow Wow's just running from people, and he has to, like, wait 3 days. I think he got it on Friday, but the bank opens or whatever. You can get the money on Monday, and he has the toughest 3 days of his life. So that's what I imagine it being like.
Yeah, that all comes out of the Ja Morant story. People have been texting us on that already today. Just a crazy story, sad story with Ja Morant. We'll see how much suspension he's going to get. Maybe we don't find out for a while. Maybe it's at the beginning of next season. But Ja Morant just cannot keep himself out of trouble. And now the accumulation of these stories of just unnecessary recklessness. That's the way I would explain it in 2 words. Unnecessary recklessness. Why are you doing, and you're filming the recklessness? The only guy I can come up with, I think the guy I remember starting this whole thing, especially in sports, was Manziel. Manziel wasn't just getting himself in trouble. He was the director of the movie getting himself in trouble. It would all come from his account. It was like, hey, there's Johnny smoking a cigar with fireworks shooting out of it, and he's partying all night, and he should be doing this, but he's doing this. What account did it come from? His. Oh, it wasn't TMZ sneaking in? Nope. They ran with it, but it's his account originally. That's who I thought of as I start to see this Ja Morant stuff. Now, you could make an argument Ja's stuff is a little more serious than some of those early stuff with Johnny, but that's kind of the wave of it now, Zay. They're getting themselves in trouble. There's not you can't blame this one on TMZ or the culture of the vulture culture, if you will, of the media. No, they're doing it to themselves.
Yeah. And if he wasn't a franchise player, he'd be out the league. He just would.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be gone. But he's a franchise player, face of the league, and he is a role model. Like, people do look up to him. If they didn't, then Nike wouldn't have given him his own dang shoe.
Right. God,
like,
yep.
The Ja Morant one just came out. We've seen the commercials where he's going to the gym, but they didn't show the part where he got the heat right on the lap.
No.
And he has to put it to the car or put it in the bag. They forgot that part. We need to see that. Bonus features. Like, oh, let me put the gun in my bag before I get these shots up. Like, because clearly it's always on them, which I know a lot of people who carry, but a lot of people carry it responsibly. And Ja Morant, he's not very responsible.
Well, here's the other thing. We mentioned the whole hunting angle or lawful ownership of the gun and use of the gun. Does Ja know anybody that's in the movies? Does Ja know anybody that's in, like, the video industry, the music industry? If somebody's filming a music video, if somebody's making a movie, you could probably find your way into it, and they might let you hold a gun the way you want to hold a gun. You want to go be a villain in a movie? Find somebody that's making a movie.
Yo, they got Boban in John Wick.
Dude, there you go. Right? There are places where you might be able to do that, but you got to find those places. So the Ja Morant story is where we started today, but obviously there's a lot more to get into in the NBA world. Wow. Sometimes when you have a chance to close that door in Game 6, you better damn well do it. Otherwise, the sports gods are going to come get you. And they're bringing Jason Tatum with them. The Philadelphia 76ers, Zay, they had the same shot the Lakers did. They had the same shot the Heat did. Win it on your floor. Finished the job. And they couldn't do it. Tatum woke up in the fourth, and then he hung one on them yesterday. Boston thrashes Philly to win Game 7.
So impressive. I mean, he had some pretty bad games in this series. One game he had 7 points, Chad. Went like 1 for 9 from the field. I think it was game 2, a game they won.
I was going to say, that's the other sick part if I'm a Philly fan. Philly didn't win the game.
Yeah, we talked about that. Like a game where Jason Tatum has 7, you lose that game. And, man, that was the smoothest 50-piece I've seen. Like, just the step backs. He gave you everything.
And you just saw Steph give you one, like, days ago.
Yeah, but, like, Steph be falling on the ground and stuff. It wasn't that smooth.
Yeah.
This was smooth, boy. Like Clooney 01 smooth. Driving to the lane, left-hand finishes, Euro steps, spin moving off guys. He did a spin move at the elbow, and somehow he was at the rim. It was ridiculous.
That was incredible.
Which NBA, I know in college, it's a travel. NBA, legal. They give you that extra crab stab, whatever they call it, that half step you get, but it was still sweet. And him taking advantage of Joel Embiid, that was the game. Because, for one, the Sixers, after what happened in Game 6 and how deflating that was, they carried that energy into Game 7. And they were hanging with them. Halftime, 3-point game. But then Jason Tatum just started exploiting the matchups. And Doc Rivers was Doc Rivers in Game 7s and in the playoffs. Bad.
Yep.
He was bad. Look, if Joel Embiid, you don't switch for one. You're not switching at this point. Everything, whoever's guarding them, PJ Tucker, you got to fight over the screen. But they were just leaving Joel Embiid on an island. And even though he was close and getting contest, there's something about a hooper that understands just psyche that I know this is a good matchup. Like, if I have Kawhi Leonard on, Kawhi might play the same type of D Embiid did, but just knowing it's Kawhi kind of scares you a little bit. Just like, okay, this dude, he's different. What's he going to show me? Is he going to get a hand on the ball? Is he going to strip me before I can even get it up? Like, what's he going to do? When you have Joel Embiid on you, you don't care. If you're Jason Tatum, you don't care. You say, they're disrespecting me, I'm going to eat this guy.
Yeah, because
he did that.
Yeah, not the same kind of length. It is a little clunkier center kind of length, even though Embiid is extremely athletic in his own right.
Yeah,
it's not a Kawhi Leonard.
You know you're going to get your shot off no matter what. Shots that you just work on. Now, Jason Tatum looked like he was going through drills.
Dude.
He looked like that double step back he was doing, just catching and shooting, jabbing a little bit, getting you in the corner. You have no room in the corner, Joel Embiid. Pressure up on him. But that's not his fault. He's a big. He doesn't know how to really guard guys. He shouldn't have to guard guys like that. Trap Jason Tatum. Trap him, Doc. After he hits the second one, we're trapping him and we're living with everything else. Brogdon, you got to beat us. Derek White, you got to beat us.
There was a sequence. The sequence I would tell everybody to go back and rewatch is the beginning of the third quarter, because I thought that's where it really started. That play where he took Joel Embiid to the free throw line, then to the elbow, could have at any point blown by him to the basket, but he didn't. He took him down to the block, then took him back out to the baseline, then stepped to the right, and then hit a left step three in his face.
Isn't that disrespectful?
Then he came back the next time and hit another three. Then on the third one, Zay, James Harden was right there. Instead, and then James thought, oh, I got to get out here on Brogdon because he might pass to Brogdon. I thought, no, man, he's hitting everything. Get in his face, and if Brogdon hits a wide open baseline three, you can live with that. But you can't just play nowhere and let Tatum continue his rhythm. I thought that's the sequence where he put the knife in their neck.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just so smooth. Like you said, that's so disrespectful to have a guy on the block and say, you know what? Let's just go out to the perimeter because I know you can't guard me.
You dragged a big out there.
Yeah, and he's already not playing well. Al Horford, great D yesterday. That was one of his best games of the playoffs. And then Jaylen Brown. People are going to remember this game for Jason Tatum, which they should. Yeah. But Jaylen Brown, his D on James Harden the whole series, just wearing them down. And then giving you at least 25 a game. All 7 games, really. Hitting knockdown threes, attacking, and then locking up on the other side. Jaylen Brown, he deserves all that money that he's going to get next year. And, man, you would think that Doc would see these things, would understand all the coaching that he's done, all the great players that he's faced. And he played the game. He played with one of the greatest guys, a guy that could get hot real quick and that could give you 50, and Dominique Wilkins. So you would think Doc Rivers, when he sees somebody like Jason Tatum, because you could see it in his eye in the first half before he went on that run, the whole scouting report at halftime where you had a 3-point game and Jason Tatum already had 20-something, it should have been every time Tatum goes off a pick and roll, we're trapping. Every time he's in situations where he's ISOing, we're throwing different looks at him, we're trapping. We're just going to get the ball out his hands, and we got to live. But what's scary is he hasn't been killing all game. Other guys have been beating you. So Doc doesn't want to do that. He still thinks that, yeah, Jaylen Brown could hurt us. I know Marcus Smart could hurt us. I know Brogdon could hurt us, 6th man of the year, and Derek. I know all these guys can contribute. Plus, everybody can shoot the ball. Even though Al Horford's been shooting like trash all playoffs, he is still capable, and he hit one really early. So now Joel Embiid is indecisive on what to really do. And Doc should have just stuck with trapping Tatum and living with the results. He didn't. Tatum had 51. Now the 76ers have a lot more questions to ask going into the offseason.
Yeah, when the line for Boston is 47% from the floor, 46% from three, and 83% from the line, that's a tough thing to deal with. When that team shoots like that, you are in big trouble, and certainly Philly was. 51 for Tatum, 25 for Brown, as Zay was mentioning. We'll continue to talk about that one. By the way, another little assist from Jaylen Brown. Him calling out his own fans was brilliant. Not many would have done it. Not many had the balls to do it. Between 6 and 7, he told his fans in a press conference, the crowds have been average at best, or ordinary at best, I think is what he said. For Game 7, I'm expecting a big-time crowd, and they were thunderous at the tip. They were let's go Celtics, full volume from the first possession. Zay, I thought that was brilliant from Jaylen Brown, because most players would be scared to do it. I'd have been terrified to do that and light up the whole city of Boston with its not only its sports history, but its racial history and all that. To be a black Boston Celtic and tell that fan base that you're not good enough, that took guts, but it worked perfectly.
Yeah, and we got to remember, like, this city, Boston, they're still hurting from the Bruins. They're still hurting from that. They're still hurting from that.
That's true.
And, you know, it's that team had so much expectation trying to win a Stanley Cup, and the fact they got knocked out the first round is kind of like, oh, okay, where are we with this team? This team's been up and down. We've seen good performances, but y'all also went 6 games with the Atlanta Hawks. That shouldn't have happened. I think the Atlanta Hawks are a very spicy team with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young, but ain't no way those guys should be taking y'all to 6 games. So y'all scaring us a little bit, and y'all went down 3-2 So we don't know what team we're going to see.
Right.
And I think that's what those Celtics fans, they know basketball. They've seen a lot of good teams throughout the years.
They're entitled.
They're very entitled. Yeah. Very entitled. I see a lot of that down here.
Sure. Yeah. That's what it is when you're a blue blood fan. Sometimes you need a reminder that you can get fired up before they do something.
Yeah, you're right. Brilliant move by Jaylen
I thought
Brown.
It was a great move. Yeah, Boston wins it and wins it easily. We'll talk about that. The 2 conference final series are now set, and they crank up tomorrow. Plus, tomorrow is the big day. Spurs fans, Rockets fans, and a little bit, if you're a Mavs fan, the Victor Wembanyama thing gets decided tomorrow with the draft lottery. We'll be talking about that. Coming up at 1:05, Joe Cook of Inside Texas for our normal Monday visit. Up next in the crab bag, I'll tell you about those XFL champions and one of my favorite stories of all time. This is The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
All right. Rolling through a Monday. Very safe roll so far. Started with Anne Murray, and now Midnight at the Oasis?
That's right.
I don't even remember who did this song. It's another single female name, right?
Yes. Maria Muldaur?
What?
Muldaur?
All right. Spell it.
Muldaur.
Muldaur?
Yes.
Okay. Maria Muldaur.
Muldaur.
Yeah. By the way, apparently I was wrong on that Beatles tune. It was a Paul McCartney Beatles tune on You Won't See Me. Sorry to all the George fans there. Also, somebody texted that they read once John Lennon thought that the Anne Murray cover of You Won't See Me was the best Beatles cover he'd ever heard.
Yes.
So
I told y'all.
So just proof if y'all needed to know that John Lennon did not tell the truth his entire life. I mean, he was maybe friends with Anne Murray or something. That's silliness. Come on.
Yeah, they must have maybe had a thing.
Or that means nobody ever played John Lennon. I'm just going to come up with one example. Nobody ever played John Lennon, I don't know, Ray Charles's Eleanor Rigby. Because if they had, he would have known that's obviously better than Anne Murray. Earth, Wind, and Fire covered Got to Get You Into My Life. I mean, come on.
Well, I'm sure after John's passing, there were more people to make covers of the Beatles. So
I think the two I just mentioned happened before he died, though.
Okay.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Come on, man.
I thought Anne did a swell job.
Yeah, that's the right word. You picked the perfect word. She did a swell job. All right, so Maria Muldaur and Anne Murray getting us started today. Joe Cook coming up from inside Texas. A lot of stuff out there, including the Ja Morant situation, including Boston beating Philly. Somebody asked if we heard the Joel Embiid press conference last night. That one took an interesting turn. We'll definitely get into that today as we roll through some NBA discussions. Right now, though, let's get you a quick crap bag on a Monday.
Chad's crap bag.
Crap bag. If you need an easy way to remember it, just think of a bag of crap.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. It's one of those feelings that I hadn't thought about. But when it happened, I really was conflicted, and I'm working through it. It's the first time in my life that something happened good for Bob Stoops, and I enjoyed it. This never happened before. I've never rooted for Bob Stoops. I wasn't necessarily a Florida guy back in the day, even when he was there, and certainly not the Oklahoma time. But now he's the coach of the XFL champion, Arlington Renegades.
Well deserved.
And when they re-racked the XFL, I thought, well, if you're going to put a team in the Dallas area, that's got to be my team.
Oh, my gosh.
I love the zombie cowboy logo. They need to make it the all-time logo. But even in the new logo, I thought, all right, I'll support it. And I went to the game on Saturday thanks to my buddy Rick and his sons who wanted to go, and they got me a ticket. Went to the game. Renegades jump them 17-0, held on, beat Greg Williams, the no-good Greg Williams, defensive coordinator, guy from Bounty Gate time. He's in D.C., and they beat that team. It was fantastic, and Luis Perez gets the MVP. I love his story. Won the title at A&M Commerce, and now gets the title with the XFL. But, Zay, if you want something to make fun of, the XFL champions for 2023 now have a 6-6 record.
Oh, my goodness.
So that's a thing.
Dwayne, what are we doing?
That's a thing. They angled everything towards those Texas teams because they knew they were hubbed in Texas. I knew they were going to play the championship game in Texas, and it just kind of worked out that way. But you know what? If you have a problem with it, the rest of y'all should have found a way to beat the Renegades, and none of you did. Houston couldn't beat them a third time. D.C. couldn't beat them a second time. The champs wear crazy blue and black.
Wow.
Come on now.
And the champs are 500.
The champs are 500. That is absolutely true.
So how was the atmosphere, and how was the look in the stance as far as talent? Like, because I know you've watched a couple of games or just different plays and stuff, but how was the atmosphere, and how did the talent look from your point of view?
I thought it was overall pretty good on the crowd. I never heard an actual number. Our guess was maybe 20,000. Like lower bowl was like 70 to 80% full.
Okay.
So it looked all right. That would be my guess. Maybe 18 to 20, something like that. They didn't quite get up to that 30,000 that they would have loved, I think, and that they've had in there before for a couple other games. So I enjoyed that. I thought and I was there with a couple of the guys we were there with were not hardcore football people. They were actually keeping track of the Dallas Stars game. My buddy's oldest is a massive Stars guy, so he was keeping track of that. But I think it held the interest pretty well. I think the level of football was pretty good. Now, if you're talking about the talent in the crowd, that was pretty good too.
All right.
Some good folks showed up, and a lot of people dressed up, with all throughout the league. There were people dressed up as Dragons and the Seattle gear and, different places. You could get gear from all the teams at the game. So I had fun. That's the first time I've ever been to a football game in the Alamo Dome. For some reason through the years, whether it was a high school game, college, bowl games or whatever, I've never been in the Alamo Dome for a game. The most I've done is watch the Cowboys practice there one time. That's it. So it was all right. We sat in an end zone, which is not ideal, but it was pretty good. And the Renegades scored a lot in that end zone, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love the Alamo Dome.
Yeah, I like that place too.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I've always liked it, just never seen a game in there. I think maybe a concert or two, but I hadn't been in there much. So had a really good time there. Right now, as of this moment, I've not ordered any merch. So I'm gonna see if I can hold off and not get XFL championship merch. Would you lose some respect for me if I ordered the merch?
Just you talking about it, I'm losing respect for you.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, yeah, it was cool. It was
Yeah.
a good year. 6-6 team wins the championship. Well done.
All I care about now is, can they survive it again? Are they going to get another season? Will this USFL continue? Let's see if any spring football can survive. And did they get enough out of this first re-rack year of the XFL? So that was on Saturday night. Also, real quick, happy birthday to George Brett. It is a nice big round number today. George is 70 years old today. If you have never heard the story of George Brett pooping his pants in Vegas, it's one of my favorites. I retweeted it earlier today at C Hastings 1049. Not safe for work on a little bit of the language. And I'm not normally a bathroom humor guy, but it is one of my favorite things to do every year on George's birthday. I sit down it's a little shy of 3 minutes. It doesn't take you long. The audio's a little sketchy at times, but it's awesome. They mic'd him up. He was like a hitting coach for the Royals at the time, and I can't remember if it was minor league or they were just in spring training, whatever it was. And he just starts to tell this story to a random pitcher about pooping his pants in Vegas. My God, it's entertaining. Great story. So go check that out on George Brett's birthday. If you like, remember Zay is also on Twitter at @ain'tthat_Zay. The station is at The Horn ATX. And again, another reminder, we're going to hit Blue Chips and A Few Good Men this week on a movie swap on Thursday. We'll take a break from the music for 1 week because since we found a couple movies that each of us haven't seen. All we have to do is watch the movie we haven't seen. I don't necessarily have to sit through A Few Good Men again, mainly because I'm going to let Zay borrow it this week. And then I expect Zay to watch Blue Chips all the way through, unless you really want to.
I kind of want to.
Unless you really want to.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, and knowing me, I'll probably end up watching A Few Good Men somehow because I do love that movie. But we'll get to that later in the week. Right now, we're heading towards the 1 o'clock hour. Joe Cook of Inside Texas. And then in your flex segment, the matchup a lot of people wanted will happen in the baseball playoffs. Plus, we are getting closer to 7-on-7s. There are even spring games to talk about this week. That's right, spring football games at the high school level. We'll talk about them coming up on The Horn. All right, let's go hour number 2 on a Monday. Hope you had a great Mother's Day weekend. Again, a shout out to all those great moms out there. Zay's mom, my mom, your mama, everybody's mama. Hope everybody had a great weekend. The new moms, the old moms, and all of that. Hope you didn't spend too much on flowers this weekend. All right, lots of stuff going on. NBA-wise, Game 7, Boston takes out Philly, and we've got the conference finals set. Ja Morant, another crazy video that he's going to have to explain to the NBA, and the Memphis Grizzlies have suspended him. Now we got to find out how long they've suspended him. Big week in the NBA because we've got draft lottery as well as the conference finals. Plus, you got Texas baseball getting 2 out of 3 from San Jose State and definitely finding their bats while doing it. And we are only 110 days away from the first Longhorn football game. Sark and his crew have been out and about in big Texas cities talking about those Longhorns, and we'll get into some of that here as well. It is Chad and Zay on a Monday. I'm Chad Hastings. He is Isaiah Collier, and every Monday about this time, we hit the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline to talk to this guy, Joe Cook, Inside Texas on 3.com, at Joseph Cook 89 on Twitter. Joe, how are you?
Doing great, guys. Thanks again for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thank you for the time. So you are going to be in H-Town tomorrow with Sark and the traveling crew?
Absolutely. One more stop on this Texas Fight Tour. Saw him in San Antonio, saw him in Dallas. Did not make the Fort Worth one, but he's hitting Houston. And then I don't know what's next for him. He'll probably start heading more into the football world. It's about to be the time of year where high schools finish up spring football and there's no recruiting on the road to be done. So maybe do some clinics, and then June's going to be a big month for hosting recruits and trying to establish that 2024 class. So excited to see what optimism Steve Sarkisian continues to bring at tomorrow's speaking event.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be a big theme. Let everybody know so far, what have you liked about these events, so far leading into 2023, and what are you looking for, if anything, tomorrow?
Well, if you're a fan, it's all optimism, and with good reason. That's what these events are their goals are. It's to get people excited for the upcoming season, and it's not just football. It's with Rodney Terry and also with Nick Schaefer on the stops that he's making. But a lot of what Steve Sarkisian from the football side of things has been talking about has to do with some of the stuff he mentioned way back on the Pivot podcast.
Yep.
This looks like his team, stuff like that, and he's not coming out and outright saying things like, this is going to be, we'll see in Arlington. He's not saying things like that, but he is very cognizant of the fact that the goals for this team are to get to Arlington. And I don't think he'd be talking about it with, I guess, as realistic of a view on it if he didn't think that there was a really good chance for his team to be able to do that. Now, he's not putting himself into a situation to where, he's saying, we're doing this, and then giving himself an opportunity where if the season doesn't go according to what he privately plans or privately hopes, and it's like, hey, you said this, but he's speaking very optimistically about the program and even about Quinn Ewers. And one of the things that, I've heard you go to enough of these things, but it gets kind of repetitive, but it's worth noting what is repeated. And one of the things that he's brought up is Quinn Ewers and how quarterbacks fare when they go into year 2 of his system. And, I think we've all heard the litany of quarterbacks Steve Sarkisian has coached, dating back, 20 years to when he was at USC. And, he mentions that, the guys like Carson Palmer and the guys like Matt Leinart made jumps in year 2. And he mentioned that, last year when Quinn Ewers was fresh off of a semester in Columbus and competing in spring football with the Longhorns, that he was just trying to keep his head above water. And now he has talked about how Quinn has, in a room with several talented quarterbacks, developed a comfort level in the offense. But, with it being 115 days away, something like that, it's still just part of talking season. So, but there is a lot of optimism, and a lot of that optimism does come around from the quarterback position.
Yeah, Joe, you talk about the optimism, which it's fair. I mean, you look at the roster and what they've done, and Sark is right. It seems like it's what he's been envisioning ever since he got to the 40 acres, getting big guys, big bodies, those 5-star, 4-star recruits like he was getting at Alabama. And you look now with the expectation and whatnot, we saw the spring game and we saw, a lot of optimism there. But there's a lot of guys, freshmen incoming, that haven't got to campus yet that could maybe fight for some clock. Who do you think those guys could be coming in, I guess, this summer?
Well, the good thing for Texas is that the guys who did enroll early are some of the highest ranked players in the class. So the Arch Mannings, Anthony Hill, Jonte Cook, and CJ Baxter, I think in the On3 industry rankings, they were all 5-star prospects. I don't think there's any 5-stars who are going to be making their way down to Austin at the end of the month. But there are, I don't know how many instant impact guys there may be, but I do like a lot of the long-term capability that is included in some of those summer arrivals. And that includes Jelani McDonald. He was out at the 4A state track meet competing for Waco Conley. And he skyrocketed in On3's own rankings, I think, to the number 41, maybe even higher than that, 41 overall prospect in the country. And he was a late add. And, I talk with you guys all the time about if you're a player at that level, at the 4A level, you're often, and you're that athletic, you're asked to play the go win the game position. You're a quarterback. You got to run the football. You're probably playing safety and making sure nothing gets past you and you're in the box. And that's what he did. And, he took home gold last year, the 2022 triple jump. I think he finished 4th this year. And he's going to be one of the top athletes, probably just pound for pound coming in that class. He'll probably end up playing linebacker long term, but he's been told by the coaches he'll get an opportunity at that star nickel position. Just a versatile player. And then I think another player to take note of is Derek Williams from New Iberia, Louisiana, went to Westgate High School. I think for a good portion of the cycle, he was a 5-star prospect. The ranking dropped off a little bit toward the end. But he is a super athletic safety prospect who, whenever you see somebody that highly rated from Louisiana, you kind of assume that purple and gold are in their future. But Blake Gideon, Terry Joseph, and Steve Sarkisian all did a great job to bring him in. I don't know how much opportunity he's going to get maybe at a traditional safety spot this upcoming season. That's a pretty decently deep position between Jalen Catalon and Jaron Thompson off the top, and then maybe Keaton Crawford, Michael Taff, and any of a number of other guys, including some younger ones like B.J. Allen and Larry Turner Gooden. But I think that Derek Williams may be somebody who is athletic enough to be able to contribute and to be a positive factor on special teams as he's learning how to play in a defensive system, probably a little bit more complex than what they're used to running at Westgate.
Talking with Joe Cook inside Texas. Joe, you mentioned, of course, not just Sark, but the 2 basketball coaches out on the road as well, talking to fans. For Longhorn fans wondering about Tyrese Hunter and any updates there, anything that you guys are hearing about where that could be right now?
Yeah, we're definitely tracking that decision, what Tyrese decides to do, looking for stuff to happen on that. It could pop at any minute. I don't know if y'all saw, but of course Dylan Mitchell got invited to the NBA Draft Combine, and I think Sir'Jabari Rice also got an invite. Rodney Terry spoke, I think, last week in Dallas that they were expecting something from Tyrese pretty soon. And a lot of the players they put their name into the combine, into the draft process, just to understand what they need to work on. There's no downside to it. You can as long as you make sure you do the paperwork right and get your name out of it, you can come back and you have the opinions of the NBA scouts and GMs and coaches who let you know what you need to work on, maybe for next year's draft. So I think that was part of the big reason for Hunter doing that. not being invited to the combine kind of shows where he is a little bit on the pecking order as far as professional prospects goes. And Terry and company, like he said, they expect a decision pretty soon. So definitely someone who I'm sure Rodney Terry has utilized on the recruiting trail when talking to guys like Max Abnos and Kendall Weaver. So we're on the lookout for something pretty soon, considering the deadline is not too far away for Tyrese Hunter.
Yep.
Yeah, Joe, you mentioned Sir'Jabari Rice getting that invite to the draft combine, which is big for him. He was at the G League combine and he did really well. And, look at his size, 6'4". I know the scouts are a little nervous about his athleticism, but he makes up a lot of that with his length, having that 6'10" wingspan. And we know how steady and his basketball IQ so good. Do you think he has a serious shot, kind of taking a PJ Tucker route where it might not happen at first? He might not get drafted, but Sir'Jabari still has a chance of having a decent career in the league.
Yeah, that's a good question because, I never thought that, remember old Donovan Williams, a Shaka Smart player, who ended up transferring, I think, to UNLV, he got some run for the Hawks at the end of the year. And that was someone who could barely, crack the rotation at Texas for a while. So granted, a couple of different players, in a league where, everybody is such an elite athlete, having that skill and that length as a differentiator is crucial because there are athletes who are better than Sir'Jabari Rice. So, but I think what it shows is just a testament to his drive. This is someone who was unranked coming out of, I think, the Klein area here in Houston, before he went to New Mexico State. And that's a good program in the WAC, but it's gone through some turnover in recent years. But he stuck it out, made a run in the WAC with Teddy Allen, Tommy's brother, and made a run in a tournament and then bet on himself at a higher level and became, he was a starter caliber player who just wanted to be a sixth man and understood that, as he put it in his own words, it wasn't about if he starts, but if he finishes games. And now he's just betting on himself some more and goes in a environment where there is, in those all-star games, I've never, obviously I'll never have the opportunity to be in one of those, but, you try to be a good teammate, I'm sure, and run whatever system's there, but you also have to make your own plays to stand out among everybody else. And he was able to just, looking at a box score I came across, he was able to do that and, earn enough notoriety, the positive variety to where NBA coaches and front offices want to get another look at him against some of the better players, in this upcoming draft.
I mean, interesting story to follow. Speaking of stories to follow, last one from me, Joe. Get a little Longhorn baseball talk in here. Kind of a wild series. The weather made it wild. 24-3 and 18-6 always sounds a little wild in baseball. Good news, obviously, Campbell keeps that hitting streak going. Outside of that, what did you take from it? How do you like the Longhorns as they head into the last conference series?
Yeah, I think we kind of saw what this team's like. Sometimes they get pretty decent starting pitching performances, but sometimes the bullpen does its job, and sometimes the bullpen doesn't follow through. And we saw that on game one on Friday, where the Spartans were able to come back. And then I think after that, game one, everybody's fresh. Once you start getting into game two and game three and utilizing a lot of arms, you're not as fresh, and the depth that comes into play for a program like Texas made itself apparent in the final score lines on Friday and Saturday. So this is obviously a big week. The Big 12, I don't think anybody's going to confuse it for one of the top conferences in the country. I think they are pretty obviously at least third and maybe even fourth as far as the pecking order goes, and they could just be a host league, and there's a chance that Texas is playing for that host opportunity. I would be pretty surprised if the Big 12 regular season champion, a power conference champion, isn't a host. I think Texas still has a mathematical chance at it. Now, they need a lot of help, but they could get it done if they're able to. I think saw some occupy left field. So give them credit for it if they're able to sweep. And I think Oklahoma State takes a game from OU. So they definitely need some help, but it's an opportunity. It's senior weekend. It's could end up being the last time at the Dish for a lot of different players. And, this is a team that still has, even if, let's say, they drop game one or OU or Oklahoma State, whoever it is, doesn't hold up their end of the bargain. Like, this is a team that still needs to try to win games and earn a better seeding, not only in the Big 12 tournament, but just for the NCAA tournament. Because, let's say they don't win this series, I think they're looking at being one of the higher-ranked 2 seeds in the whole tournament if they don't get a host bid. That can have a big impact. If you're maybe a team that's headed to, maybe the number 16 team in the country, and you're the first number 2 seed. So you're just right there by one of the teams that did end up hosting. And, Texas always sends a contingent to wherever they're playing at. And, but, the ideal situation would be to take care of business versus the Mountaineers and try to ride some momentum into Arlington for the Big 12 tournament and see if they can figure out and start to alleviate some of the bullpen woes that, pitching depth is always important when you could play 5 or 6 games, however many it is, in 4 days. And this will be an opportunity to really get a test of that before it becomes win or go home for real.
Texas baseball sitting at 35 total wins for the season. They are 12-9 right now in conference as they get ready for that West Virginia series. Joe Cook, Inside Texas on 3.com, joins us every Monday about this time. If you're on Twitter, at Joseph Cook 89. Joe, always appreciate the time, man. Enjoy the Houston event tomorrow, and we'll get the review from you next week.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
And, Coach Sark, Coach Terry, Coach Schaefer doing the barnstorming tour around the state. A lot of positivity being discussed. And, a lot of talk about, I hear it being called the all gas, no excuses tour. Zay, I don't know if that's Sark's phrase for it or if that's what everybody else is calling it, but it does feel like there's a lot of positivity, and I think he's smart enough to know that if he talks about anything other than Jerry World and that Big 12 title game, he's not hitting the bar.
That's how you got to go out.
Yeah.
You got to go out with a statement, and this schedule is tougher than you think, but what the roster is and what we saw last year, and getting better each season, and the moves that they made, bringing Chris Jackson in, getting the wide receiver room now. You see the freshmen coming in. A lot of guys going to be ready to play, like Joe said. And, damn right, there's expectation.
Yeah.
No excuses. I'm with it.
That's it. And that event will be tomorrow in Houston. So be looking for comments and quotes and thoughts coming out of that. Texas and West Virginia. Remember, it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series this week. No Sunday game there and no midweek game either. So it's just Thursday, Friday, Saturday for Texas and West Virginia. Obviously, we'll be talking about that one as the week goes on. Also, plenty of NBA to get into. Game 7 as Boston gets the win and the 2 conference finals are set. Plus all this Ja Morant craziness as another video surfaces, and it causes Memphis to suspend him from all team activities until they can look into it a little closer. We'll get back into those stories. Also up next in your Flex segment, the matchup we've been talking about will happen in the baseball playoffs. Plus, you got the 7-on-7 to go check out this weekend if you're really into your high school football. We'll tell you when and where on the Horn.
Chad and Zay.
Oh, there we go. Now we're adding some guts to this show. Nothing against the two ladies that have been on so far. This is one of the big dogs. One of the biggest voices on the female side in rock. Ann and Nancy. It's Heart with Magic Man, right?
Yep.
That right? Yeah. Great song. Weird song. This is how you know you're young, hot, and completely blasted out of your mind on all the drugs. When you fall in love with a guy, you feel the need to write a song to your mother about how much you're enjoying, like, just having sex with him all the time.
Yeah.
That's basically what this is.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Whew.
Here's
Yeah,
Magic
this is
Man.
perfect for coming out of Mother's Day. Well done. Well done. Heart, Maria Maldar, and Anne Murray, one of our Austin music fans, texted us that Maria Maldar, however you say that name, was the last artist to play at the old Armadillo World headquarters in the early 80s. Wow. That's a great trivia question.
All right.
We got music snobs out there, man. I do appreciate that. Hope everybody is having a great Monday. We do have a Game 7 tonight. It's on the ice. It's Dallas and Seattle. That series goes 7 after the Kraken took it to the Stars over the weekend in Seattle. Eventually, the Stars pulled the goalie to make sure he was ready to go tonight. 7 o'clock, ESPN, and as much as I love, Zay, a Game 7 when it's baseball, as much as I can love a Game 7 when it's basketball, if you get the right Game 7 in hockey, there is nothing like it.
Yeah.
When it's that close, especially if you get overtime, none of the others are guaranteed to end the way the hockey is guaranteed to end if you get into overtime tonight in Game 7.
No basketball tonight? I'm checking it out.
Yeah, right. No basketball. We get the break tonight, and we'll get into those conference final series starting tomorrow. So ESPN tonight for hockey. All right, let's get into a little bit of flex. We got some football and baseball to hit.
Flex ATX for the best high school sports coverage. Listen to the Horn and go to FLXATX.com. Flex 30 is brought to you by Brain Vault. Brain Vault is a revolutionary and patented mouthguard that has been proven to help reduce the risk of concussion. Visit BrainVault.com and join the movement.
All right, Zay, you're going to have to help me on the basketball one, but we're on a good run now of, in the football season, there was a matchup people were kind of looking for, and it was Vandergrift Dripping Springs. They wanted the rematch in the playoffs. We got it. Then in basketball, I want to say there was one we had talked about that we were hoping would happen, and then it did. Was it maybe that? I want to say maybe it was
Bill Johnson, Stony Point.
There you go. That's it. I was going to say, I know it's the Josiah Mosley team, Stony Point. And
Yeah, because Beeler Johnson won 26-6A and Stony Point won 25-6A.
So we got to see that. And now in baseball, I think there was a lot of folks around here thinking, man, what if Westlake and Round Rock end up playing each other? And now we get that. They both win their series over the weekend. Westlake and Round Rock will be playing as soon as we have all those details. We'll be talking about that this week. So congrats to the Shaps. Congrats to the Dragons. Also, if I'm hearing correctly, Georgetown advanced in the playoffs. Lake Travis advanced. I think I heard Rouse advanced as well. If I'm leaving anybody out, let me know. I know my Elgin Wildcats got taken out.
Yeah.
So good season, but I think it was Lake Belton took them out.
My dogs got taken out.
Your Bowie Bulldogs got taken out.
Dadgummit. Great season, dogs.
Yeah, that was San Antonio Johnson.
Yeah.
I think that took Bowie out. Let us know. If you're a Taylor Duck, I have not seen that one. Did the Ducks win? Did they advance? Let us know. Baseball playoffs roll on. Also, it is almost 7-on-7 time. Our first local 7-on-7 event is this Saturday at Lake Travis. We'll be getting you more on that schedule as the week rolls through. But if you want to throw that on the calendar, this weekend, this Saturday, is the Lake Travis 7-on-7. We've also got spring games this week. Today is Hutto's spring game. Round Rock has theirs Thursday at 6. Lake Travis is Friday for their spring game, and Westlake's is Thursday at 4:30. So high school spring games. If you're really a crazy hardcore fan, make your plans to get out to the spring games.
Yeah, this is when the coaches come in and they either say, man, this ain't going to be like last year, or they're going to say, man, this definitely ain't going to be like last year.
One of the two.
One or the two.
Uh-huh.
It's the tone, though.
Gotta listen for that inflection.
Gotta listen for the tone.
How's that inflection sound? Yeah, that's funny. Flex segment every day at 1:30, and we do it throughout the shows, all throughout the day. Check out FLX ATX on your social media, FLXATX.com. Also, I saw today there's a lot of different offers and commitments being announced. I'm seeing even more weightlifting videos. I saw, what I see today, Liberty Hill, and there's a couple others that were sending videos out that Flex retweeted. So get those videos out there. Workouts, 7-on-7s, crazy one-handed catches, all that stuff. As you're getting ready for whatever that next season is, Flex wants to see it. So definitely get those out there. All right. So a lot of basketball, obviously, on the board today. And somebody sent us a text, Zaya, on the Ja Morant thing saying, is there some kind of morality clause in his contract? Is there something that says that he can't have a gun? I get it's not a good look, but if he's not violating the law, it should be a non-issue. I don't know his history. So to me, it's the accumulation of all this stuff. You mentioned I think once that incident occurs that involves Ja Morant, a gun, and at least one teenager, that's when everything would have changed. And if the NBA didn't have something in his contract at that point, it's that is when he and his agent have to be told, all right, that's it. Done. You cannot. And we didn't think we needed to say this, but you cannot be seen with a gun. You can't be on social media with a gun, recklessly, wielding a weapon. Can't do that.
No, not at all. And you look at somebody else who we're going to talk about at the 2:00 hour, James Harden, who is not dealing with guns, but he was at the strip club in Vegas.
Right.
Before this series even started with Boston. And we saw how he played yesterday. And sometimes it's just what you represent. And Ja Morant, he represents the NBA because he's one of the top players. He represents the Memphis Grizzlies because he is their top player. And with that comes responsibility. So, yeah, it might not be illegal what he's doing, but you also have to carry yourself a certain way when you have a certain job. That's just what it is. We all have jobs that have different rules.
Yeah.
Some jobs drug test, some jobs don't. It's what it is.
Yeah.
That's the way life is. Some things are fair, some things aren't. But Ja has to understand his position in the NBA like everybody else in the association. Over all these years, there have been problems and there hasn't been problems. It's how you deal with them. But Ja Morant is a problem. And whether it's fair or not, he was told by Adam Silver, brought him into his office and said, yo, all these things, we're going to suspend you for 8 games because you were wilding. And that was light. Now looking at it, that was light, clearly, because he didn't pay no mind to it. If he did, he wouldn't have done this.
And in his defense interview, if you heard the interview he did with Jalen Rose, I think it was.
It was Jalen Rose because they wanted to get somebody relatable who went through something when they were calling Jalen Rose Crack House during his Michigan days because he was called at some crack house that wasn't really a crack house. Just, I guess somebody sold drugs in there once upon a time and they came in and busted him and he didn't have nothing on him. So they wanted to get somebody relatable.
Yeah. And so when he was talking about the 2 incidents that involved family members, he tried to defend it by saying, hey, if I'm guilty of something, I'm guilty of trying to protect my family. Okay. In those cases, maybe. Now, did you get too involved? Probably. And do you need to, to double check those situations?
You got bodyguards, dog.
Right. There's other ways to deal with that. But again, this situation with, I can't remember if it was it at the school or at the house with
his sister or his mom?
Where the kid, wasn't it Ja with the kids?
See, that's sad that we're mixing it up.
I know
he's gone
that I'm
all
mixing
this
up.
Crap.
There was something about the teenagers, and there was like a threat. The idea was there was a threat made, and then there was a gun. Not a threat with a gun, but sort of a reference to the gun or making them know that he had the gun, something like that.
I'm getting them mixed up now because I've heard the story about him fighting the kid that ended up being 17. Then you hear the story about him pointing the guns at people that are part of the Indiana Pacers, like they saw the lasers. Then you hear about a situation with his mama and his sister where he was protecting them. Like, he's been through so much ish. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's the part of it. If you're wondering why, it's like, it's not that it's not that they've decided to treat Ja Morant differently when it comes to firearms than any other player just out of nowhere. It's because this is sort of where it's gone. It's gone into kind of a violent realm. It's gone into this unnecessary thing. And then now you've had a couple instances where Instagram Live, an image of him with a gun. Again, in one case, it would have been illegal in league terms. If he had a gun on a road trip, that's not something he can do. And that would have been really serious in NBA circles. They would have had to deal with that, and then he's really looking at a suspension. And then in this case, I don't think there's a direct NBA suspension, but once it's accumulated and they see it again, and also we brought this up earlier, how quickly that phone came back down. How quickly Martin Scorsese in the driver's seat went from, hey, what's up, and it went immediately down. It's like, oh, so somebody realizes the situation. So that story is unfortunately continuing for Ja Morant. It's just, he's got to get out of his own way. It's not difficult. The solution is so not difficult. We've had people texting in today, Zay, about, isn't Memphis a dangerous town? Isn't dangerous? Hasn't Memphis been called the murder capital of the world recently, or all those kind of things? You said it earlier. There is security out there.
Yeah. For
Ja Morant in Memphis?
They got outskirts in Memphis that are pretty nice.
Dude.
Pretty nice. You can get away from all that stuff. You can get away from all of it very easily.
I mean, we're not just talking about any old boss and any old employee here. You're talking about the best player on an NBA team who also has a relationship with Nike and has a shoe. If that person doesn't feel safe in their city, something can be done. I guarantee you, guaranteed, between the NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies, and Nike, they'll figure out how to protect Ja if that's what it was. I don't think that's what this is, Zay. If it was that, it'd have been taken care of. Long time ago.
We get it. You're a tough guy. You don't got to show us you're hard. It's so immature for me to even say that, that these millionaires get in the league and they still want to show that they're tough guys and that they're hard. Like, don't muck with me, or like, I got that thing on me, like stuff like that. Just so dumb. I can't even fathom how dumb this is. And with all the talent in the world, just throwing it down the drain, just like that. Like, I feel so bad for the Memphis Grizzlies. I really do.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for them because Stephen Jones, they're a click away. When they get all those guys back, Steven Adams and Brandon Clark, with Ja Morant, with Desmond Bane, even Dylan Brooks, we know he's gone, but having him, if they were healthy, they would have made a run.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, that's one of the scariest things these coaches, GMs, and front office owners have to deal with the offseason of whatever your sport is. From football, baseball, basketball, it doesn't matter. The offseason, you're always wondering, damn, a lot of these brothers, I know they're immature. A lot of these guys, I know they're flat out ignorant. And with all this money and all this time on their hands, all they can do is get into trouble. Some guys just can't get out their own way. Like you said, they just can't get out their own way because they got too much time on their hands. They got all this money. He has his homies with him. Like, you still want to be real to them. That's one thing you don't want to lose. You want to say, you know what? I want to be authentic, and I want to be the same guy I was when I was flat out broke to where I am now when I'm rich. No, that's not a way to look at it. I get it. I get staying yourself, but things are going to change no matter what. And you have to change with that, or you're going to be like Ja Morant in these dumb situations.
Game one of the conference finals gets going tomorrow night in the NBA. We'll get into those series coming up at the 2 o'clock hour, plus a coaching change in Phoenix. Yep, that hit Monty Williams over the weekend. Where could he end up? And there's definitely talk around Philadelphia. Is it time to make a move with Doc Rivers? Does he have to pay for what just happened in Game 7? We'll get into all of that. Up next, it's Where Are We At in Society with Zay. We hope you're having a good Monday. A bit of a wet Monday outside. I don't know. Is this out of nowhere rain, or was this expected?
It was expected.
Was expected? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Be careful out there in the wet weather. Obviously, I wasn't ready for it. I hope y'all were. This is The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
Oh, that's a big voice from the past there. I wish he'd get up there with him again. But for some reason, hey, I don't know all the politics of it. Journey and Wheel in the Sky. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Journey, Hart, Maria Muldaur, Gower, and Anne Murray today. Yep. Journey. Not sure if they're going out this year on tour. I do know they're not going with Steve Perry if they go. This will be the legendary Steve Perry. Shout out to Journey. With or without Steve. I wish they'd try it out again with Steve. Take them both out. I know the new guy's good. Take them both out. Let them yell at each other. I don't care. Let them sing songs back and forth. Give it a try. You're telling me that kid, I don't know, he's probably 50 now, but that guy that was worshiping Journey in a cover band, you tell me he wouldn't want to be on stage with Steve Perry? That'd be awesome. They might have to give him oxygen.
Yeah, I would.
Could be
if
a great.
I was like borderline stalker.
Yeah, could be a great story. Stalker's not the right word.
Oh,
Lead singer in a cover band. That's different than stalking.
okay.
That's how he got the gig.
Oh, okay. That sounds better.
Dude, they looked him up on YouTube and went, wow, that kid kind of sounds like Steve. Let's try that. All right. The music, always interesting on the show, and Zay's got more of that coming for you. We've got lots of NBA to hit. We'll get into more of the Monty Williams getting fired, as other coaches going to be fired pretty quick here, and then the 4 teams that are left in the playoffs getting ready for the conference finals. Right now, though, a lot of secrecy around where we at in society. Let's see where Zay wants to go.
Where are we at in society today?
Zay has told me not to look at Twitter until he tells me to. So, Zay, where are we headed today?
All right. Well, both of these stories tie together.
Uh-huh.
So don't look yet.
I'm not looking yet.
So we're going to talk about the first story first. And It will make a lot of sense after you see the next story. So first story, Ben DiNucci, XFL standout, as this caption says on one of these sites.
I like how you can't even say the word
stand
out without stopping.
I can't believe this. But
Come on.
Ben DiNucci is at Denver Broncos minicamp right now.
Okay.
And he got picked up.
Hey, go
He
ahead,
is
Ben.
Signed
Go ahead,
for the
Ben.
Denver Broncos for 1 year. Don't see the money, but Ben DiNucci is back in the NFL. I guess the front office in Denver and Sean Payton saw what he did
Go,
for
Ben.
the Sea Dragons in Seattle and said, you know what? Let's give this guy another shot. Back up Russ, and we'll see what happens.
That's what we're looking for. I'm watching that championship game on Saturday. Tyler Vaughn's the receiver that went to USC. I hope he gets some looks. He's looked pretty good for the Renegades. Both running backs in that game, I hope, get looks. Both quarterbacks. Maybe they don't make a roster, but do Perez and Te'amu get looks? That's all I'm wanting out of this XFL, just that opportunity.
Yeah, and a lot of people would say, you know what? These Denver Broncos have lost their mind by picking up Ben DiNucci. A lot of Cowboys fans would say, Denver Broncos, y'all have lost your mind for picking up Ben DiNucci.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to the video, Chad,
Here we
something that we haven't talked about yet that's been going around for the last few weeks. I heard Ball Don't Lie talk about it last week.
Yes, I have not seen this yet.
Sean
I heard about
Payton
it.
video of him ripping the bong full of the best chronic you could possibly get in Colorado, old school style, looking like he's in a dorm with kids, high out of his freaking mind.
Wow.
And it makes so much sense for a high as hell Sean Payton to go in the front office and say, we need Ben DiNucci on our squad. Everything matches up perfectly.
Oh, I bet you just couldn't wait to tie those two stories together, could you? You could not wait.
It's too easy. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty easy.
Like a hungry dog to raw meat, you were ready to go.
Oh,
Man, yeah, there is now this is the first time I've seen this video. It is startling how young that other person in the video is. Like, it just stops.
in the Golden State shirt?
It stops you how young that guy looks, and it does appear that Sean Payton is just at like a random frat guy's house in Denver.
Like, it looks like at the University of Colorado.
Right. Yeah, he's at CU. He's at Colorado State. He's just rambling around the state, and obviously it's a very different video now than it would have been 5-10 years ago because obviously marijuana is legal in Colorado. That part is separate. But the crowd he's hanging with would be my only question.
Yeah, this is son's friends?
I hope so.
I do too.
I need you to know. Please let there just be a good connection. It's his nephew. It's his niece. It's his cousin, whoever it is. Please tell me there's a family connection here, Coach.
Now, clearly he's a beginner because the frat friend is instructing him on how to do it, like how to pull the piece out as he inhales it.
His pot Sherpa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, good for him. I hope this relaxes him. Now he's back coaching. It's probably not as stressful as it was during his New Orleans days.
I hope it's relaxing him. I just retweeted it, by the way. If you're like me and you had not seen the video, I'm at C Hastings 1049. Zay is at @ain't_that_Zay.
All right, old man. Gotta ask you this.
Yes.
Do you want your head coach high as a kite? Like, this is when you hit the bong, you're entering pothead territory. There's one thing to have a joint every once in a while, a little spliff or something. When you're hitting the bong,
okay,
you're going in.
So try to compare it to a world I do understand. Give me the drinking equivalent to hitting a bong. Is that a keg stand? Is that what is that? Is that
it's like
shotgunning?
It's like having your own flask.
Okay.
You are into drinking.
Okay, thank you.
You are into drinking.
You just compared it for me.
Yes.
I don't want to see my head coach doing that. Knowing that my head coach of my NFL team might partake, that's different. Seeing him, hit a bong hit with a 12-year-old? No.
The kid's
he's
not
not 12.
underage.
He's not 12. He's not 12. He's 20. He's 21, something like that. My bad. He's not 12. He's not 12, but
don't put that on Coach Payton.
And here's the other part of it. To be the old man in this story, to the young man or woman that is running that phone, why?
What do you mean?
Why?
It's Sean Payton ripping the bong. It's legendary.
Let Sean Payton rip the bong, have a great time, take a picture, and don't send it to anybody or only send it to a few friends. Does anybody do anything? Anything? And just keep it to themselves anymore? Does everything have to turn into a broadcast? Does everything have to get out? It drives me insane. He's the head coach of the Broncos, and is it cool that he's hitting a bong hit? Dude, it's not only cool, it's badass. That doesn't mean you have to let everybody know. Can you not just contain it to like 2 or 3 people?
Every time the Broncos mess up, every time they mess up in anything, I'm gonna think this dude Sean Payton high as hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time. I know probably 100 coaches smoke weed out there.
Do you know how?
Think about Phil Jackson. You know Phil Jackson was toking that ganj. But every time Sean Payton, like Russell Wilson trying to throw fades to Jerry Jeudy, something like that, and it's just a simple incompletion that you'll see all the way across the league that you've seen for decades. Yep. I'm gonna think, damn, Sean Payton, you high as hell for that play call.
Every time they fail to convert a third down and the punter's coming on the field, somebody's tweeting that out. That's getting tweeted out like 20 times a game by Chiefs fans, Chargers fans, and Saints fans who are going to give him some too.
Oh,
that's going to be out of control. Oh, my God. Look, so wrong.
I got to see. Now I want to see the Kevin James, Sean Payton biopic. We need a part 2 version. We need a sequel because now we didn't even know this about Sean Payton. He has a whole different light that we don't even know about.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because only now after seeing this video do I agree with the Kevin James casting. Now it makes sense. That was a visionary director that made that decision because it all connects now. Now Kevin James can play that guy. He couldn't play him yesterday until I saw it. Now I'm good. Until that story came out, bad casting. Now it's a brilliant casting.
So, like, if he was hitting the joint, I don't think I would pay much attention to it.
Okay, right.
Or like just a blunt or something. If he was just natural, but the bong, like you are hot head when you hit the ball.
If somebody had hit him with a video at a dispensary and he was smoking a joint, you wouldn't have blinked.
Yeah, or just at the dispensary buying some gummies, some edibles.
There you go. Right.
I'm like, oh, he chilling.
He's buying some gummies or brownies. He's walking out, and it's, oh, my God, that's Sean Payton. And that would have been it.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah. Bong's a little different for you, huh?
Yeah, and they're expensive? Oh, yo, you wildin'. You wildin', Shawnee. You wildin'.
And he's partying with Gen Z or whoever this is. Or Gen, whatever they are now. He's partying with college kids. What are you doing?
Yeah, if you turn up the volume, you hear Olivia Rodrigo in the background.
They're checking out the new Jonas Brothers album. see what it sounds like. Oh my God, it's fantastic. All right, there you go. Where are we at in society? A little more layering for that AFC West this year as the Broncos head coach has a video of him hitting a bong pretty hard on that will get sent everywhere.
What do you think Bill Parcells thinks his mentor, like the guy that basically brought him in the game and gave him his shot, or is a big reason why he got his shot? Think about old school ass Bill Parcells watching just like protege ripping the bong like Snoop Dogg at the crib.
I don't know. I do not know. I guess the joke response would be, so now, Sean, just be careful. If you go into the office to ask them to let you shop for the groceries, don't be high when you do it because you'll want the wrong groceries. I have no idea. What does Bill Parcells even think of pot? I have no clue.
Yeah, man.
Does Bill Parcells ever get high? That'd be the other question.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Is that where he
learned? Saw how intense he was? No,
Yeah.
I don't think he smoked it like very much.
Maybe that's where Sean Payton learned it.
Maybe.
Bong hits with Bill Parcells. I think I'd respect that more on the age gap thing in terms of this 20-year-old he's hanging with. I don't know if this kid can legally drink. But he's standing there watching. He's his bong instructor.
He tells him to pull out the piece so he can get a better hit to the head coach of the Denver Broncos. That is wild.
Does he at least give him good advice?
Yeah. That's the game. That's game. He gave him. Yeah, it was right.
This is me. I wouldn't know good bong advice if I heard it.
Yeah, he did the right thing.
Not my thing.
He did the right thing.
Absolutely. He's a smart young man in terms of the pot.
Yeah, he knows what's going on.
Fair enough. All right. Check that out online if you have not. Coming up, your 2 o'clock hour, NBA. Monty Williams loses the gig. Will he get another one? Plus, is Doc Rivers in trouble? What now in Philly? What now with Golden State? And we'll talk some conference finals. Don't move. It's The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
All right, getting started on this third hour of a Monday. We hope you're having a good one. Hope you're staying dry today. A little bit of rain in and around the Austin area. Chad and Zay, I'm Chad Hastings. He is Isaiah Collier, and he picks out a beat, especially for you and me, and himself, theoretically, because he's dancing right now, so it's got to be something he likes, too, unless he's torturing himself. Looks like he's enjoying this one. Zay, what do you got today?
All right, so you could probably figure out who made this beat. What does it sound like? You're really good at these type of beats, I feel.
This beat...
Like, who could you see rapping on this type of beat?
This beat sounds like a Dr. Dre
There
beat.
we go.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
You're right. Dr.
Okay.
Dre beat,
All right.
Death Row Records.
Uh-huh.
This is Lady of the Rage, First Lady in Death Row, featuring Snoop Dogg, Afro Puffs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lady of the Rage?
Yeah, man.
It's a good name.
She was tough.
I like it.
She was tough. I think she is very underrated.
Okay.
Very underrated. I think she got put to the side because there was a lot of testosterone in Death Row.
No. In rap? Are you serious? Testosterone?
Yeah, just think
I never got that.
Yeah, just think of Suge Knight, trying to push a woman, and he did his thing, but yeah, man, this was a jam.
Does Lady of the Rage have like an album, or was she just
she had
a
an album.
contributor?
She had an album.
Okay.
Mm.
Cool. I never heard that name.
Yeah.
Lady of the Rage. All right.
See, you haven't seen Next Friday. Have you seen the second Friday? The
No,
sequel?
I've just seen the first one.
It's classic.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, she's Baby D in Next Friday.
I got you. Oh, and an actress as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so a good Dre beat to get the hour started. We hope you are having a good Monday. It is certainly a weird Monday in the NBA. For 4 teams that are still alive, it's obviously a great Monday. Tomorrow is Western Conference Finals. That'll all be on ESPN. And then Wednesday is when the Eastern Conference will start, Miami and Boston. That's on TNT. And then tomorrow night, it's draft lottery night. Victor Wembanyama is going to find out. You've been saying it the whole time, Zay. Tomorrow night's the night he really could start looking at real estate if he wants to.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, somebody said Lady of the Rage versus Baby D in a fight is what I would like to see. That's the same person. That's like Cactus Jack versus Mankind.
Is that right?
That's the same person.
Oh, she's got multiple personalities
no,
going
just
on?
she was Baby D in the movie, so that's what.
I see the character in the movie.
Yeah,
I got you.
same person. But
that's funny.
yeah, Chad Wemba. I mean, this is what we've been waiting for. Like this guy, generational talent, generational height and length, 7'5". Like we grew this past season. He was 7'4" when you and I started the show in October, and at this point, he's 7'5".
Mm-hmm.
In that French league, he leads the league in like blocks, rebounds, points, everything.
Lots of important stuff.
And it's not like that league's trash either. They got another guy on his same team that's going to be a top 20 pick. That's out of France.
Okay.
So, yeah, man, Detroit, San Antonio, Houston, all those teams have the 14th percentile to where they got the best 3 chances or the best chances out of those 3 to get Wemba. And that's going to change the league for the next 15 years.
Yeah, the other teams that technically have a shot: Hornets, Blazers, Magic, Pacers, Wizards, Jazz, Mavericks, Bulls, Raptors, and Pelicans. The Mavericks and Bulls do have some of those conditional picks that if they get way up there into the Victor area, they'll still get the pick. If it falls below a certain spot, somebody else will get the pick. That is tomorrow night. Obviously, if you're a Rockets or Spurs fan, you are the most excited in this region because you do have the best chance for the ping pong balls to go your way. Could San Antonio possibly end up with 2 of these situations in our lifetimes?
Yeah.
Because to get it once is a big deal. To get that Tim Duncan thing that time was massive and obviously was, franchise altering. Could it happen to them again tomorrow? It'd be huge.
Yeah, and who knows what would have happened if David Robinson was healthy in that 96 season. They probably wouldn't have got Tim Duncan because they probably would have been in the playoffs with the former MVP. And he was injured, so they got the number 1 spot. This Spurs team just flat out tanked. Nobody got injured. They said before the season started, DeJounte Murray, we're too good with you on our team. So we're going to send you away for 9-0.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was like, what's going on? This and that. I remember I was producing B&E and they were shocked. What the hell is going on? I had to put them on game. Yo, there's this French brother that everybody's been talking about for the last 3 years. And he's supposed to be something special. He's that special. Yeah. And now we're going to see who gets to get him tomorrow. So to be honest, Chad, I want one of those 3 teams that isn't in the top 3, Detroit, Houston, San Antonio. I don't want any of them to get Wemba. I just want to shake the league up that much. I don't like tanking. You don't deserve it.
You don't want them to be rewarded
for
it.
Hell no. Yeah. Hell no. The Spurs, how they tanked this year was a joke. The Rockets, them too, absolute joke. But the Rockets, they actually have pieces. They actually have young guys. The Spurs, not so much. I like Vassell, he's cool, but Jalen Green was a top pick. Jabari Smith, he was a top pick last year. They like Kevin Porter Jr. They played hard in certain games. It's just they weren't very good. The Spurs, it seemed like they just gave up.
I know what you're saying there. It is a weird thing. You don't want to think about rewarding a team for tanking, but that's kind of the system they've set up. Let me give you this what if. The 5th best chance to get Wembanyama is Portland.
Scary.
What if they end up with that guy? What happens then?
You keep Dame Lillard for a little bit longer.
Wow.
For a little bit longer. I know Dame's not trying to, restart or anything, but if you get Wembanyama with Dame, he could come in and y'all could fight for the playoffs immediately.
Yeah.
Because I expect Wemba to be an Anthony Davis type defender, and then offensively, he'll be able to shoot the ball from the outside, which is going to give people nightmares. And then he'll give you fadeaway jumpers and nice jump hooks inside, plus the ball handling. That's what Dame Lillard's been waiting for his whole career. And he can stay loyal because we know he is with loving Portland so much. That's what everybody hates about Damian Lillard, the fact that he's so loyal. And the time and place where nobody is. Everybody wants to be on the super teams. Everybody wants to jump ship. Nobody wants to wait around for the process. Damian Lillard has done that and has been okay doing that. I don't know if that's his, mid-major background to where he's just happy to be in the league. So he wants to be somewhere where he's comfortable, like Portland. Plus, it's a great city, especially for a low-key guy like him. But, man, his career is ticking. And there's a lot of guys that you think about what ifs that played that position. Allen Iverson, John Stockton, and Damian Lillard. I feel like he's going to be one of those guys if he doesn't have somebody like Wembanyama come on the squad.
Tomorrow night is when we find out with the draft lottery. All right, real quick on the coaching side. Monty Williams got fired over the weekend. Do you think he surfaces somewhere else?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
A lot of teams would be lucky to have Monty Williams, whether that's Milwaukee. Who knows what's going to happen with Doc Rivers? I mean,
if Philly called you today and said, should we keep Doc Rivers? What do you tell him? Tell him it's time to go?
I'd give Doc one more year, man. Because I don't, even though he was bad last night and allowing Joel Embiid to be isolated on an island with Jason Tatum, that was stupid as hell. I don't blame him for these losses. People forget Joel Embiid wasn't 100%. Now, that has a lot to do with, Doc, you should have known him not being 100% trying to guard Jason Tatum.
Right.
Is really dumb.
Get him some help. Do something.
Joel Embiid averaged 33 points this whole season. In the playoffs, he averaged 23. You can't do that and be the MVP of the league. Joel Embiid is the only MVP in NBA history to never go to a conference finals.
Yeah, so 0-5 in conference semis?
0-5.
Never even been to the conference finals.
That's a joke.
That's wild.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
and he's had some good teams where they should have went to the conference finals. You can't blame Doc Rivers for how bad Tobias Harris is. He's not good anymore. You got to get rid of him because he was supposed to give you so much more. He was supposed to be that fourth piece after Harden, Maxey, and Embiid. He was supposed to be that fourth piece that everybody forgot about, but could give you 20. And he's not doing that anymore. And he can't guard. So what's your worth? He'll give you a 16 every now and then, but it's just not what the Sixers need from him. What you're going to get from PJ Tucker. If he hits threes, that's a plus. But his defense, you couldn't really see PJ Tucker's value at defense because you're switching everything. So, and you're probably switching everything because you're trying to hide Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, and Tobias Harris, who are all bad defenders. James Harden's gotten better over the years, but you have a lot of bad defenders that you're trying to hide. You can't hide everybody. That's what the Warriors ran into. They want to play Jordan Poole because he's so good offensively. The Lakers were going at Jordan Poole like he was a G League player. They had no respect for him. They already don't have respect for Steph, but at least Steph could get 3 for 2. So you keep him on the court. Jordan Poole, he just got exposed. And like I've been saying, the playoffs is going to expose you. It's going to expose you, your coaching, your stamina, your skill, your toughness. Something's going to get exposed. And what we saw with the Sixers was a lot of things, from Joel Embiid not being healthy, James Harden, who knows where his head is at. He'll have a really good game, and then he'll be trash and be in single digits. He was awful last night. You go back to this fool in Vegas before the series even started. Like, where's your mind at? Where's your mind at, James Harden? People talk about you wanting to go back to Houston? For what?
My question to Philadelphia would be, do you really want to run it back with that guy as your head coach and that guy on the floor, James Harden? When both of them have shown you what can happen, and now you've seen it together. A coach known for blowing, what is this? What I hear, what I read, the 7th team of his that's blown a 3-1 or 3-2?
Oh, yeah, it's been a lot.
You have that guy as a coach, and you have James Harden on the floor that was awful in Game 7. Ball's bouncing off his hands, out of bounds. And then the other thing is, and again, his default face is apathetic. And maybe it's just that he's more of a stoic guy, but when he goes bad, it looks like he doesn't care that he goes bad. Even if that's not what it is, that's the vibe he gives off. So do you really want to go with that combination in Philly again? That's the big question I would ask the Sixers. I know they're moving forward with Embiid. Do you really want those other two guys there with him?
I don't know if I want to keep James Harden. I really don't.
I just don't think you can count on it.
I don't think you could count on him consistently.
If they'd close that door in Game 6, we could have a different discussion. And he's going to the conference finals, and they're going to go try to take out Jimmy Butler and maybe get to the finals. Okay, fine. And you do it with an MVP. He'd validate the MVP in a way by getting to those next levels. But what just happened? I don't know.
Like, I've seen a lot of these Doc Rivers teams. Doc Rivers, even though he has that lone championship in 2008, what you see with that season and all the other playoff teams that Doc's been with, that team was so deep and had no injury problems. KG wasn't hurt. Ray Allen wasn't hurt. Rondo wasn't hurt. Paul Pierce wasn't hurt. All those guys are Hall of Famers. If you look at Doc's career as a coach and the teams that he had, a lot of those teams were injured. He was with Kawhi and them, with PG at the beginning. Kawhi's never healthy. PG's never healthy. Before that, he had Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. Chris Paul, never healthy, ever. Even those teams with Boston, after they won that championship, KG was hurt the next year playing against the Magic. So Doc's had a lot of bad luck, and he had it again this year, where his MVP star player might have like a slight torn meniscus that he had to play through. So it's tough to say, yeah, we need to restart. We need to get rid of guys, because look at Monty Williams. Monty Williams didn't get a fair shot either. And a lot of these owners and stuff,
all their injury stuff.
Some of them aren't being objective.
Yeah,
you know.
Right.
And how can you expect Monty, which Monty made some mistakes too? Like, if I'm the owner, Matt, whatever his name is, I was pushing Joker. If I was him and I made those GM moves that I made to pull in TJ Warren and Terrence Ross, and you don't play them and we lose, and then you play them and we win, but it's too late, I'm going to feel a certain type of way, which I know that's how he felt why he got rid of Monty Williams. So you got to have a lot of luck to win these championships. And I think the coach gets the short end of the stick a little bit too much. Hell, Budenholzer, Giannis didn't play for like a couple of games, and they lost to the Miami Heat, which is really good. They're really good. Even though they're an 8th seed, they're still a really good team. And Giannis getting hurt, it didn't matter. Budenholzer, gone.
Yep.
I don't care what you did for us in 2021 winning that championship, but Giannis was hurt. Out Coach Spo. What?
Yeah,
Out Coach Spo? Like that's what I'm saying. Like these GMs and owners and stuff, they're so impatient. And a lot of them, they just aren't objective to the whole story. All they see is the wins and the losses, which I get to a certain extent. But if your guys aren't healthy, players still got to play. You can't go out there and play for them. Steve Kerr couldn't go out there and play for Jordan Poole. I probably wish he could. He couldn't.
That's another guy that's available that feels like he'll get a job quick. Feels like Budenholzer is not going to be out of work very long.
No, Nick Nurse.
Nick Nurse is
just
out
won
there.
a championship. Kawhi left. He's an LA guy. You blame him for that?
Yeah, we have a Philly fan that texted us earlier in the show and said if they make a move on Doc, they want one of those three: Budenholzer, Nurse, or Williams. They want that discussion to happen immediately if Philly's going to make the move. That's the question, though. Do they want to make a move from Doc Rivers? Give us your thoughts on it. Specs text line 337-3776. Zay, I know you probably realize this. I did not when it first, when everything came through. This is the same 4 teams we had in the bubble.
Yeah.
You realize that? That's kind of crazy.
People said that bubble was fixed.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, those teams are still here. And all 4 of those teams still have their 2 best players on each team.
Yeah.
Miami has Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler. They were in that finals in the bubble. AD and LeBron for the Lakers.
Yep.
Joker and Jamal Murray. And then Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
All those guys were the best players in the 2020 Western Conference and Eastern Conference finals, and they're the 2 best players for their respective teams now.
Going to be a lot of fun, and definitely feels like the best 4 teams are in the conference finals. The way Philly staggered to the end there. Boston really stepped up yesterday. All right, let's be specific. Jason Tatum really stepped up yesterday and got Boston into the conference finals. We'll be breaking those down throughout the week. Up next, let's get you a little why today matters on this May 15th. I mentioned a birthday earlier. Cowboys fans, I got to mention another big birthday today. Stay with us. Plus, we'll get you hungry a little bit with something I know a lot of y'all have to love. Stay with us. It's The Horn. This is Chad. Let's talk sinus and snoring specialist. Had a nice Sunday nap yesterday and been sleeping well. If you have not, then Sinus and Snoring Specialist is the place that can help you. If you know you're snoring, you might have sleep apnea, allergy issues, sinus issues. They've dealt with all of it. There's so many different options out there. So get on in there. Meet Dr. Slaughter. He prides himself on meeting you in the first consultation. He's got over 20 years of experience with ear, nose, and throat. He's got surgical and non-surgical options, double board certified in ear, nose, and throat. So he's got other options, or some options rather, that others just don't have in terms of snoring, sleep apnea, the allergy situation. They got rid of my allergies for good, and they can do the same with you. On a crazy day like today, where it starts as one kind of weather and then the rain shows up and then goes away and then comes back and you never know what's going to happen and always messes with you with the allergies, they can help you because they can get rid of your allergies for good. You can live in the Austin area without all those allergy issues. So call and set up an appointment today, 512-601-0303, or go to sinussnoringent.com. It's Sinus and Snoring Specialists. Feel clear, rested, and healthy.
Chad and Zay.
All right, rolling through a Monday. Do I have a shot here?
Nah.
No?
I think this guy's a one-hit wonder.
Okay, so is this the Return of the Mac song?
There we go.
But it's a one-hit wonder name?
Yeah.
Like, the only name that popped in my head was Jermaine Dupri, but that's not a one-hit wonder name.
Why would J.
I have no idea. Who is this? Yeah, I don't know.
Mark Morrison.
Mark Morrison?
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs a better name. I mean, he needs a better name for this kind of a song. This is a very cool song, though.
Yeah, Mark Morrison don't sound like no Mac.
No, it doesn't. He sounds like a shooting guard for Gonzaga. Doesn't he?
Oh,
Sounds
shout
like-
out to Adam Morrison.
Sounds like Adam's brother. Yeah, you didn't know the younger Morrison came through? That's a great song. What year is that? We're 90s on that?
Yeah, it's 90s.
Ooh, that's a smooth track.
Oh, man.
That is a smooth track.
Yeah, I think
right
he just
there.
stopped trying after this.
Is that it?
Yeah, that was
That's
it.
sometimes, man. I mean, there are tons of musicians that didn't have something like that. So once it's out there, maybe that's it. You just, kind of give the little walk away.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
Mm.
And then they'll have to respect you forever. Mark Morrison, Journey, Heart, Maria Muldaur, and Anne Murray. We also had that Dr. Dre beat, Lady of the Rage, and Dr. Dre earlier in the hour. I got to check out some Lady of the Rage at some point. Dirty or not dirty, Lady of the Rage?
Not like Lil' Kim Dirt. She was tough.
Tough. Got some swearing?
She was in death row.
We're swearing. We're just not, like, swearing but not slutty.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Picture a female version of Suge Knight.
Oh.
That's Lady of the Rage.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was like Suge probably said, I need to find me a female version of me. Female version of me. Hey, let's go to Vanilla Ice house and almost throw him off a bridge. Yeah.
And
what
your
a bully.
Your Suge Knight has a lot of Incredible Hulk in it too. I like that. It almost turns him into kind of a Hulk smash. Kind of
That's what I picture when I see Suge.
Yeah.
Like
imposing,
scary
yes.
blood Hulk Hogan.
Imposing figure, no doubt about it. All right, Chad and Zay on this Monday. No basketball tonight, but you do have hockey. You've got the Dallas Stars trying to stay alive. Seattle at Dallas. Game 7 is tonight. You've already got a new franchise in Las Vegas back into the conference finals. I think I saw this right. The Las Vegas Knights have been in the league, like in existence, 5 years, and 4 of the 5, they get at least to the conference finals. That's a hell of a start.
That's not supposed to happen for expansion teams.
Man.
Like, you're supposed to really struggle at the beginning.
They've definitely done a good job of making it a little easier, but maybe hockey's gone too far the other way and made it way too easy to get good. But credit to them. They've taken advantage, and they are good to start. So Seattle is trying to be a team, obviously, in its first year to get to a conference final. Dallas and Seattle, Game 7 is tonight. Winner will take on Vegas in the next round. 7 o'clock ESPN for Game 7 tonight. Let's tell you why else today matters. It is May 15th. Here we go. All right, I will be the Cowboy fan to admit he might not be the greatest running back that I've ever seen in my life, but he's definitely one of my favorites. Emmitt is 54 today. Happy birthday to Emmitt Smith.
Man.
Came out of Florida and became one of the most badass running backs out there. He still has the all-time record, obviously, if you look at that as the judge of greatness. But, yeah, we won't get too far down the list, Zay, before Emmitt would be mentioned. I certainly would put Emmitt in a top 5 discussion of best running backs I've ever seen in my life. And I think a lot of people would even, bring that up to like a top 3 or top 2, depending on who you're asking.
I think his toughness was a huge part about him, because you would hear about him like popping his shoulder out of place and still getting 20 more touches.
Dude, the game
going over 100 yards and stuff.
The game against the Giants is still one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, what happened there? He like popped his shoulder out of place, or
he played with I think it was a fully separated
just
shoulder.
Separated.
So he's playing a game with basically one arm, and I think he had 175, 180. And it was one of those, this is later in the season. You're talking about a
Yeah.
cold day in New York, and he's hitting that hard turf over and over and over again, and the Giants couldn't stop him. It was crazy. You could see it on Michael Irvin's face. You could see it on Troy Aikman's face. You could see it on Moose's face. Everybody knew what they were watching. It was like, holy smokes. This is just, here we go.
Yeah.
He's not coming out. And the pain, everything he did, he had to do it with that one arm.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're
And,
talking about.
oh, my God. Yeah, you're right. That's a good thing to bring up. He was so tough. The best running backs are. If I thought about the best running backs I've ever seen, they're all tough. But that was a big part of what Emmett did. So smooth, so cool. Made that uniform look about as good as it can look.
Oh, that 22. Iconic, man.
We rocked that. We put that star helmet on, man. There's not many that made it look better than that.
I like
Happy
the Emmett with
birthday
the
to
high
Emmett.
top. The little short high top because he had the little box head.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
high top was smooth. We
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
keep it, too long because that hairline was, a little pushback. But hey, not a bad bald either.
You got to go with it while you can.
Oh yeah,
He
you
was a
gotta
good
take advantage.
It was a good bald.
Yeah.
Yeah, once Michael Jordan showed all the guys that the way to go, then yeah, just go bald. It's okay.
And Michael had a pretty tight fade.
Yeah,
It wasn't like Steve Harvey type fade, but it was a solid fade.
yeah, that's true.
And he went bald.
Happy birthday to Emmett today. I mentioned George Brett earlier in the show, turned 70 today. If you haven't heard the George Brett poops his pants story, it's out there today. I retweeted it. It is one of the best of all time. Happy birthday to him. Also, since we got AEW coming to town this week and I am in a pro wrestling mindset, happy birthday to Kevin Von Erich today. The last of the Von Erichs. Hopefully enjoying life out in Hawaii still. And Ron Simmons. The great Ron Simmons is 65 today. Florida State is that old school badass player for Bobby Bowden back in the day and then went on to make some serious history in the pro wrestling world. So happy birthday to both of those guys in the wrestling world. Also, Zay, back in the basketball world, it's Donnie Nelson's birthday today. Sorry, it's Don Nelson's birthday today. Let me make sure I'm clear. Don's 83 today. I'm sure he is somewhere having a good mellow time today.
Yeah, probably not playing much defense, whatever he's doing.
Probably not. You know the old school on Don Nelson? I don't know this one. I wouldn't have known it.
Definitely don't.
Iowa?
Huh.
Yeah, long
Okay.
time ago.
Yeah.
Iowa.
Yeah.
Like late 50s, early 60s Iowa. Way back.
Yeah. I always have to bring this up when you bring up Don Nelson.
Yes.
How bad did it hurt when he couldn't win with your Mavs, but then knocked out your Mavs with a number 8 seed team?
Let's see. What's the right word? Devastating.
Okay. Just wondering.
It still haunts me. It does. It still haunts me. Anytime you have a team that was a 1 seed and they don't advance and get knocked out and like they don't even get to the championship round, that's extra painful. So that Cowboys team that got the number 1 seed, the Cabo crew that lost that game, and that Mavs team, that hurts. Mavs getting all the way to the finals, losing to the Heat, I mean, that hurts. Don't get me wrong. But there's a little difference in those teams when you knew you were great. You knew you had it, and then you just get stopped right away.
Yeah.
Those suck.
And you get beat with a system that didn't work for you.
Exactly. And you
Like they played that same run gun. We ain't playing no D-tempo with Baron Davis and Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. And it didn't work when they had Dirk and Nasty Nash.
I'm glad I was not a betting man because I'd have put everything I had on the idea that there was no way Don Nelson and Baron Davis were pulling that off. No chance. No chance. I'd have put it all on the map. There's no way they're beating Dirk and that crew. Yeah, they did. They did. It was terrible. What was that?
07.
The year after.
2007.
Oh, my
Yep.
God. So right after the loss to Wade and the crew. Yeah, the fact that those came back to back as well. That sucked. That too.
Yeah.
Had to take all that pain, like 2 big punches right there. Because at that moment when that series ends, Zay, I don't know if I'm ever sniffing that trophy again. I don't know if I'm ever getting close again. That's the other reason that was so painful. Eventually they did get it done, but at that point, we did not know that. There's some Why Today Matters on this May 15th. Real quick on the hungry side, National Chocolate Chip Day. Could always be a good idea in a whole lot of foods. It's also, yesterday was National Buttermilk Biscuit Day.
Okay.
Come on now. You like a good biscuit every now and again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little jam, a little jelly.
You're a jelly guy on the biscuit?
Oh, yeah. I like my jams now. From apricot to strawberry preserve to peach. I'll go through different jams.
It's weird that you said it like apricot. Like, why did it come out that way? Apricot. You couldn't just say apricot or apricot. You go apricot, by the way, not apricot.
Same difference. Pecan, pecan.
Okay, now
Depends on the mood.
are you a jelly guy and just a jelly jam guy, or do you get into preserves at all?
I get in preserves.
Because my grandmother did some apricot preserves back in the day. Oh, man.
Yo.
Whew, I would fight some people for those.
Yo, huckleberry.
Ooh.
I'm telling you, I'm serious about my jams, Chad.
You got huckleberry preserves going on?
I had it.
Okay.
You have to get it in certain places like Montana, Yellowstone. They're known for the huckleberry up there.
Okay.
But yeah, whenever I go up there, make sure to bring some back home.
I've not had any huckleberry. Haven't had the huckleberry preserves.
It's on point.
Okay.
It's on point.
Fair enough. Man, if I knew
It's like if Blueberry had a cool ass brother that you didn't see very often.
Hey, it's Huckleberry. Came to visit. Yeah, all right. I'll check that out. That's good stuff. What was that Val Kilmer said was in Tombstone? I'll be your Huckleberry. That was him, right? Maybe he was referencing the food when he did that. You ever seen Tombstone?
No, never
with
seen
Val?
it.
Oh, that's a good one.
Heard it's a good Western flick.
It's a good one. It's a great over-the-top Western. Over-the-top Hollywood Western. It's not as great a movie in the true sense of the word as people make it out to be, but it's such a good time.
Yeah.
It's so well acted, and Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday makes you forget about anything else that's wrong with that movie. He's so good. He is magnetically good in that movie.
Yo, Kilmer, he's pretty good, man. I think he's underrated.
Yeah. He's had some great roles over the years.
You still haven't seen Heat, huh?
No, I still haven't seen Heat. I got to see that. I'm telling
Kilmer and Heat.
This is why we have to get off the music train every once in a while to get me a couple of
I'm with
movies, because otherwise I may never see these movies. We'll do a little more of that as this week goes on too. All right, coming up, stems and seeds. Before we get out of here, including we got a football update for you. Look who's going into the booth. And a legend in the Vegas realm dies at the age of 89. We'll get you both of those before we're done on the Horn.
Chad and Zay.
All right, just about done on a Monday. Do I have a shot at this at all?
Wait till the woman starts singing.
All right.
You have no idea.
I do not
You have
recognize
no chance what the rapper is.
his voice. I don't recognize. No.
Yeah, he's known a little bit, but for you, not known at all.
Okay.
Yeah, you're probably not going to get it.
No, I don't think I am. Who is it?
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
NFL quarterback.
NFL quarterback. Sierra.
There we go.
There we go. Come on. Okay. She's something. I've not gotten to where I can recognize her voice yet. I haven't listened to enough of her stuff. Is she good?
Yeah.
I know she's incredible looking. Is she incredibly talented?
Oh, man.
Yes?
Her dancing, she's one of the best dancers I've seen.
Okay.
Like, she's up there with Paula Abdul and Beyonce and a lot of women that could get down. Sierra could flat out dance. Her singing, it's good enough.
Good enough.
It's good enough.
It gets her through.
It gets her through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sierra, Mark Morrison, Journey, Hart, Maria Muldaur, and Anne Murray on the show today. Plus, Lady of the Rage. I'd never heard that name, but great Dre beat and a Lady of the Rage to get us started this hour. So all that on the show today. We hope you're having a good Monday. Let's get you a couple things with Stems and Seeds, and then we'll tell you what's coming after we're done.
No stress, no seeds, no stems, no sticks.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. Real quick, RIP for Doyle Brunson. If you're a poker fan, you know, 10-time World Series of Poker champion, dead at the age of 89. That famous cowboy hat was big time. He won a couple back-to-backs in the 70s and won 10 of those bracelets. One of the most famous poker players ever, dead at the age of 89. Rest in peace. All right, Zay, how about a young prospect maybe people should learn the name of?
Nah, I wouldn't say learn the name because you'll get Ron Holland.
Oh, no.
Trey Johnson, the 2024 number one player in the nation for basketball, has chosen his top 6 college teams that he is interested in: Kentucky, Arkansas, Kansas, Alabama, Baylor, and Texas.
There you go.
No, don't clap. Don't clap for us. No, hell no. Because we can't trust it. Ron Holland showed you you cannot trust it. The fact that he's a number one player means he'll be getting calls from the G League and from Australia and all these other agents and people who could pay him more money than people at Texas can for basketball.
So now Holland and Johnson have given y'all the PTSD.
Yeah. Like, Johnson hasn't even done anything yet, but Ron Holland has given us the PTSD.
That's the one.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can't trust none of these top 5 high-level 5-star recruits. Not one bit.
I know it's a basic name, but is Trey Johnson in the state of Texas somewhere?
Yes, he's a Dallas kid.
Okay, I knew the name.
Yeah.
We've talked about him.
Yes. Yeah, it sucks.
He's number 1 in the country?
Uh-huh.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got to have more faith. Got to
Plays
have
like
more faith.
Bradley Beal.
Maybe he'll stay. Maybe he'll stay where he's going. Or he'll just announce, like Holland did later on, that he's not going. We'll see. But keep that name in mind, Trey Johnson. One other quick note, Matt Ryan says he's going to be a CBS analyst this season, but it's not a retirement post, Zay. How much do you buy that Matt Ryan will play football again?
I don't. Just give it up, Matt. Your career's over. It was a good one. You got to a Super Bowl. You won MVPs. You played with some really good players like Roddy White and Julio Jones, etc. Give it up. It's over.
Man, look at you writing the obituary already
It's
on
over.
his career.
I don't get why these guys, what's the point? What's the point of going to the booth and trying to get back out there like he has something left?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's just trying. He doesn't want to admit it. He'll probably have to admit it at some point. He'll be working with CBS this year in case you want to check it out. Up next, it's Ball Don't Lie with Rod and Harge. Their thoughts on the NBA and more from the weekend. Then at 7 o'clock, it is Soccer Matters with Glenn Davis. Keep it right here. Have a great Monday. We're back tomorrow for a Tuesday show. Stay safe and stay dry out there.